Skinner Show, live here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM. Tweet the show at 1410 Kinner or give us a call at 457-9464. We now send you to the Wing Studios in Kettering. Here's your host, Justin Kinner.
All right. Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome into the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. I hope everyone's had a great day. I'm ready for all this snow to go away. I think I've opened the show with that same statement every day, but because we keep waking up and it's still here.
We keep getting more.
I'm ready for it to go away. I mean, my car can barely make it out of this parking lot every day. And, nonetheless, every time there's more snow when we leave than when we get here in the morning. It's ridiculous. A lot to get into here in today's show. How about this? According to Pro Football Talk, the Seahawks management not happy with Russell Wilson. We'll get into that. Look, I love chaos. I love all this. I love that all these teams hate their quarterbacks and the quarterbacks hate them. It leads to great offseason chatter and talk, and we'll get to all of that coming up around the corner. But I wanted to open up with this. As we get closer and closer to baseball, in fact, I got an email from the Cincinnati Reds today with the final schedule for the Cincinnati Reds. Now, again, I think the schedule technically came out towards the tail end of last season, but we officially have all the final first pitch times and everything. And looking ahead to that, I start looking at month by month, like trying to project what the record is going to be for the Cincinnati Reds. You're not a record projector. I am. I always like to have a number at the end to kind of fit what my expectation was so that I stay consistent. That's why when we were giving our Browns and Bengals, going back to the NFL side of things, when we were giving our projections back in the middle of the summer last year, we stuck to that. I kept saying, Here's what I thought they were going to be. Here's what they ended up being. And I'm going to do that with the Cincinnati Reds. I'm not the only one. Major League Baseball put out a tweet earlier today with the win-loss projections for all Major League Baseball clubs in both the American and National League. And it's interesting and somewhat depressing. Look, the Cincinnati Reds are a very interesting club to me because I don't think they're as good as what we want them to be, but I don't think they're as bad as what people are projecting them out to be at the same time. I think that we fall too much in love with what have you done for me lately in regards to off-season activity. Mm-hmm. And the Reds went from a team that for about 4 years, outside of just trading away Jay Bruce, trading away Todd Frazier, trading away Aroldis Chapman, trading away those types of guys, that was the Reds off-seasons for going back to pretty much 2013. Okay, so for 6 straight years, we had to deal with that type of thing. And then in the off season, they wouldn't make any big moves. They would go, to the Dollar Tree and they'd pull out the best and easiest, cheapest deal as they possibly could. They'd bring in age-old veterans and hope that there was just a little juice left in the tank that they would be able to kind of squeeze out for as little money as possible. That was the Reds off season for the longest time. I don't think we're giving the Reds enough credit for the job that they have done over the last 2.5 years. There comes a point where the moves that you've already made have to account for something. And I just think that because we're not satisfied with what those moves have equated to, that right away we throw tantrums and we expect more in the offseason. I am a little frustrated with the Reds front office, but I do have to keep reminding myself this is a front office that after 6 straight years of doing nothing but shipping guys away and only signing Dollar General players, that's a raise. They'd get better play. I'd rather them shop at Dollar General, but they're at the Dollar Tree, which is a great place, by the way. I mean, absolutely fantastic, but that's besides the point. That's where the Cincinnati Reds live, is at Dollar Tree. But I feel like over the last 1.5 to 2 years, we don't give them enough credit for doing what we did not expect them to do, and that is be big players with some of the big players in the game for some of the bigger players out there. The only reason we're disappointed that the Reds didn't re-sign Trevor Bauer is because we had Trevor Bauer. Mm-hmm. Like you can't. I always say this: you can't miss something that you never had. It's okay to be frustrated about Trevor Bauer. It's going to be okay. The reason that, the Reds even had him in the first place is because they were aggressive. They were going for it. They were going for the win. My big thing when it comes to the Cincinnati Reds right now is they still have Sonny Gray. You still have Luis Castillo. I do like Tyler Mahle. I would like a little bit more in that rotation, but you got to understand that just because the season starts, whatever the roster is that you have when the season starts, that doesn't mean that you're locked to that roster.
Right.
Like, people keep forgetting there's a trade deadline. I have no problem if the Cincinnati Reds want to dip their toe in the water and say, you know what, let's just see how cold this water is. Let's just see how deep this water is. Let's see how far out in the water we can go before sinking all the way to the bottom, before we start calling for help, right? Like, I don't blame the Reds for looking at the fan base and saying, okay, slow down, hold up. All right, we have this. Okay, we got this. We have enough firepower in this lineup that we can compete against any. I mean, there's not a there's really not a scary pitching staff out there, at least in the National League, that I'm concerned. I'm not really fearing any of the rotations. There's good pitchers. There are good pitchers I respect in the National League, but as far as rotations, I don't look at any rotation in the National League, especially in the NL Central, and say, oh man, the Reds are screwed. If anything, there are rotations in the NL Central that should be doubting themselves going up against this Reds lineup if they hit to what they're supposed to on the back of their baseball card. The trade deadline is where I'm going to put my hope and desires for what this team is going to do. I think that if the Reds find themselves within a couple games of the division, they're going to pull the plug on a big trade come the deadline. They've done it in the past. They did it with, they did it with Trevor Bauer a few years ago. In fact, they gave up a good chunk to get him. They did the sign and trade in the offseason with Sonny Gray. Luis Castillo has panned out the way you expected to. They go out and get Moustakas and Castellanos. They were aggressive in going to get Shogo Akiyama from Japan. So I have no issue with what the Reds have done the last couple of years. It's depressing that while there's blood in the water this year, they should have smelt blood in the water and attacked. They kind of stayed put a little bit. But this roster last year coming in, we were super pumped about. And let's be clear, a year ago at this time, we didn't know we had a Cy Young winner in Trevor Bauer. A year ago at this time, we thought we had the Trevor Bauer that was barely making it out of the third inning heading into the season, okay? So it's not like a year ago we thought that we had this Trevor Bauer. This Trevor Bauer emerged as the season started and went on, but who's to say that Trevor Bauer is going to be the same Trevor Bauer this season? Not that I'm saying I'm rooting for him to fail, but if he does struggle and takes a step back, it really would help me as a Reds fan say, well, okay, at least we dodged a bullet there. I don't know if that's going to happen, but the point is that a year ago at this time, we felt very good about our rotation, but we didn't have the Cy Young winning Trevor Bauer a year ago coming in, and we still felt confident. Why did we feel confident? We felt confident because we had Eugenio Suarez and Jesse Winker and Nick Senzel, and now you add Nick Castellanos, you add Mike Moustakas, you add those bats into this lineup, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, wow, I feel pretty good about this. So nothing has changed. It's just whatever there was movement around the Reds, we panicked and thought we did nothing. The thing is, the Reds have done more in the last 3 years than they did the previous 6 years combined, and we're freaking out right now. I think we need to try to be a little bit more positive with this group. As I said, a year ago at this time, we loved this lineup. The lineup hasn't changed. We didn't lose a big bat. I feel good about the Reds lineup heading into this season. I feel okay about the rotation. I'm okay with the bullpen. We'll see what ultimately ends up happening. There's not a spring training game for another 2 weeks. But ultimately, big picture, I think Reds fans need to calm down just a tad before throwing in the towel, before the season even starts.
Right.
I think this team's better than what we're anticipating.
So I wanted to ask you about COVID-19 and the effect on baseball, because in the NBA, even though they had their bubble, the team that everybody expected to win the championship did with the Los Angeles Lakers. Mm-hmm. Same thing happened in college football. The teams that were expected to be in the college football playoff were there. Alabama ended up beating our Buckeyes. So do you think that baseball will still have the same outcome as the other sports did? Do you think that the teams that were expected to be there and in the end will be there in the end in the World Series? Because we're seeing crazy things happen in the world of college basketball with, 13 of the biggest programs, most winners programs, not even being ranked this season. Obviously, we're still hoping to have March Madness, but we've seen a lot of weird stuff going on in sports. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the teams that we expected to be there in the championships were there. Like, we expected Kansas City to be there. A lot of people had Tampa Bay being there. Now, some people pick KC, like myself. Some people pick Tampa Bay, like you. But ultimately, for the most part, the teams that people expected to be in those championship games were there. Do you expect the same thing to happen for baseball this year?
I expect baseball. Look, the only sport, this is why I don't buy into, Duke, North Carolina, and Kansas and Kentucky, that they're all struggling because of COVID. They're not allowed to use that excuse. I've heard fan bases of other teams try to use that excuse. Oh, it's a throwaway year. We're struggling. It's a COVID year. That's why all this is. No, you don't get to do that, because every other sport has managed to crown a champion that's who you anticipated being the champion. Mm-hmm. The Lakers winning the NBA championship. When LeBron James and Anthony Davis teamed up, we expected them to win an NBA championship, either them or the Clippers or whoever. But that's who you expected to win a title. LeBron and the Lakers won a title. Major League Baseball, the Dodgers. Now, the NFL, I'm sorry, as you talked about, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, mm-hmm. we expected to be there. When Tom Brady left, we thought they were going to be good enough to get there, and they ultimately did, and ultimately win the Super Bowl. Every team that was supposed to be in the mix You've gotten it. College football. Say what you want about how ugly the season was, but you still got Ohio State, you still got Notre Dame, you still got Clemson, you still got Alabama. Those were the 4 teams. Those were going to be the top 4 teams with or without COVID last season. And you crowned a national champion in Alabama, and they were going to be the champion with or without COVID. So every sport has crowned the champion that they're supposed to, even Major League Baseball last year with the Dodgers.
Right.
So I don't anticipate this season doing that. This is why I don't give college basketball. I don't let them off the hook for that. You don't get to use COVID as an excuse as to why certain teams are struggling and others aren't. I'm not saying that others have not had it worse than other teams, but ultimately talent prevails. And that's what we're seeing in every other sport out there. We're seeing it in hockey and baseball, in football, and in the pro level of basketball. So I know, to answer your question, baseball is always the toughest to figure out anyways.
Right.
Like, I mean, look how many times the Dodgers have won their division. Look how many times they've come so close and yet haven't been able to punch their ticket. They finally win a World Series last year, but that's after years and years of having one of the highest payrolls in baseball and still not being able to get it done. How many years have the Yankees had the best payroll in baseball and they still don't get it done? So I don't think COVID's going to have an impact on that, big picture, unless the week of the World Series or the week of the playoffs, COVID just runs rampant and wipes out a roster. I don't see COVID having an impact on who the final champion is going to be come October.
That's fair. So what's your prediction for the lovely Reds?
So as we go into this, and again, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. We are live on Facebook. Head to Facebook, search the Justin Kinner Show, and you can jump in the chat in the comment section. Your expectation for the Reds this season is what? Hear me out. Like I said, nothing's changed from a year. If a year ago we felt that this team was embarking on a World Series season, or at least a playoff season, not a World Series, let me rewind that. We were embarking on a playoff caliber season. Don't tell me that Trevor Bauer is the only reason the Reds made the playoffs last year. He's not the only reason they made the playoffs last year. He had a fantastic season, but he only won 4 games. Let's be clear. He only won 4 games. I'm not a big, he's either 4-5 or 5-4, Kev. It wasn't a lot of win. And I'm not a big win-loss guy when it comes to that, but ultimately it's not as if they only won, in 60 games, they didn't win 22 of them because of Trevor Bauer, is my point. So without Trevor Bauer this season, a year ago, we were super pumped about this team. A year ago, we were so excited. And a year ago, we didn't know that we had a Cy Young winning pitcher in Trevor Bauer at the time. A year ago, we were super pumped to have Moustakas and Castellanos with Eugenio Suarez and Jesse Winker and Joey Votto. I mean, we were pumped about all of those things, right? Well, nothing's changed. We have all of those guys, and if anything, it's year 2 for Shogo. I'm expecting us, him to step up and have a big season. I mean, at this point, this is still a playoff team. I still think this team is good enough to compete and win this division still, even as good as the Cardinals look. The Reds, I think, they still have a lot of the core pieces they had a year ago that made them successful. Sure, they lost Iglesias, but as many games as you think he won the Reds, he also lost the Reds a lot of games. He was not reliable in the bullpen, so we shall see. I'm just more upbeat about this team than not. What did you look up?
He was 5-4.
So 5-4, so not 4-5. But and again, to be fair, I'm using the win-loss thing.
Yeah.
I'm not using that against him. Wins, losses ultimately don't matter anymore right now for pitchers. It used to matter. I don't think you're going to see. Right now it's all about the ERA, and some people hate ERA. But whether it's WHIP, whether it's ERA, whether it's WHIP, I don't care if it's the nene. I mean, whatever you got to find. But like last year, clearly Trevor Bauer didn't win the Cy Young because, he won 4 games. No, clearly he won it in spite of that because of everything else that went into play there. But 457-9464, that's the number to call in and join in on the conversation. We're going to step away for a few moments. On the other side, we just talked about the Reds. On the other side, Major League Baseball released its win-loss projections for Major League Baseball teams this coming up season. For the American League, for the National League, those were just released earlier today, or at least Major League Baseball released them. Baseball Prospectus is the one. Baseball Pro is actually who released the win-loss projections for both the National League and the American League. Major League Baseball retweeted that with the graphic. We have that graphic with all the teams' projected win-loss records. We have that coming up for you on the other side of the break. Reds fans, why are you so down on this team? Why are you so down on this team? Why am I feeling so much negativity about this Reds team heading into 2021? Spring training just a few weeks away. We'll be back in a moment.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be mostly cloudy, a high near 25. Tonight's also going to be mostly cloudy but windy, a low around 15. And tomorrow will be mostly cloudy, a high near 28. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
It's time for some straight talk. Your tax return could look different this year, but you're still going to hear a lot of noise about how to spend it. So when the big carriers tell you to splurge on the latest nonsense, just tune it out. With Straight Talk, you can get a Samsung Galaxy A51 for just $199. Plus, get the $45 unlimited talk, text, and data plan with no contract on America's best networks for up to 50% less. Tune out the nonsense and tune into Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise.
DSC. There are so many razors out there. How do you choose which one's right for you? Well, at Dollar Shave Club, we got you. With a 6-blade cartridge for daily shavers with short hair and a 4-blade cartridge for less frequent shavers with longer hair. Still confused? Well, we put both blades in one new starter box, so you can test drive both. Check out dollarshaveclub.com/ESPN, dollarshaveclub.com/ESPN, and visit DSC at your nearest store. You've got questions, we got answers. Welcome to the club.
Now at a store near you.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, with 24/7 support and experienced staff at over 250 local branches. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, my name's James, and a little thing I love about Chick-fil-A's Grilled Spicy Deluxe is the first bite, you get a little kick of spice, and then that cilantro and lime sauce that kind of balances things out. Just delicious.
Hey, I'm Amber. A little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A new Grilled Spicy Deluxe is how well all of the ingredients complement each other. It's so good. I like bob my head side to side, dancing while I eat.
Chick-fil-A's Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich, available for a limited time only. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Why would I quit my 9-to-5 to start a 9 to who knows when gaming company? Or eat pizza for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Oh, I gotta get that. How could my favorite tech be an app that helps run my business? No offense, smartphone. None taken. Or fill my garage with enough servers to power a small country? It's because I wanted to make it big in gaming. And QuickBooks suite of tools helped me get there.
Intuit QuickBooks helps small businesses be more successful. Learn more at QuickBooks.com.
Okay, set it down over there and then go to bay 5.
Indeed knows unexpected growth can stretch your business thin.
We need to keep going to finish.
Like Amir's warehouse. To expand capacity, he needs to get started hiring right away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. And the moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Roosters would like to thank all of our loyal guests and all the loyal Buckeye fans for your support this year. Because of you, we've been able to stay open and keep our award-winning team employed. Our team members go above and beyond and are dedicated to providing you and your family the safest dining experience possible while still providing a fun, casual atmosphere to relax, laugh, and enjoy our award-winning food. Roosters, the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Panera's new flatbread pizzas are here. But to our new chef, Klaus, they're not just pizzas, they're masterpieces. Because it's not just cheese, it's hot and melty mozzarella and fontina cheese. It's not just sauce, it's market tomato red bell pepper sauce. And it's not just toppings, it's fresh mozzarella, basil, and grape tomatoes. Taste our delicious new flatbread pizzas today. Order online for pickup or delivery. Panera. Restrictions apply.
Listening to this Allstate commercial about savings might be the hardest thing about getting those savings. Save for simply becoming an Allstate customer. Save more for adding DriveWise. And save even more for driving safely. Visit Allstate.com or contact your local agent for a quote today. Allstate. Minimum effort, maximum reward.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. DriveWise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Smoothbrook, Illinois.
Merrill Guided Investing. Visit merrilledge.com/investing goals. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner, and Smith Incorporated, both a registered broker-dealer and investment advisor. Member SIPC.
Don't miss the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
So you want to talk about outliers? Those guys are out. You're lucky that this thing's separating us. That's all I got to say. More facts, though. I got your facts right here.
Listen, stream, and now watch. Search the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook to follow along. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, and we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. April 1st, April Fool's Day, but no fooling around here. The Cincinnati Reds opening day, they will be at home at Great American Ballpark. 4:10 will be your first pitch. I'm talking as if it's just a couple days away, but I'm trying to talk it into existence because I'm tired of this cold, and I'm ready for Reds baseball. The Cincinnati Reds opening day, April 1st, 4:10 the first pitch, and they will be welcoming in the St. Louis Cardinals, and that's a great way. I mean, you get the probably the best competition in the NL Central to open up the season, and then back-to-back series. You have the Pirates right after that. So you have 3 with the Cardinals to start, and then 3 with the Pirates right off the bat. I mean, that could be probably 1-2 and 2-1, a 3-3 start most likely. Who knows how all that's going to pan out? But the reality is that while a lot of people are down on this Reds team, people keep talking as if, man, everyone has made these moves. Charles Tackett on Facebook says, and again, we're live on Facebook. Head to Facebook, search the Justin Kinner Show. You can watch the show and interact with us that way. Charles Tackett says the reason that we are down on the Reds is that the teams within the division are getting stronger, and the Reds are not making any impact moves. I was hoping they would use last year's playoffs as a springboard for an exciting year. I don't have that feeling. Probably finish third in the division. Charles, there's a lot of truth in what you have said right there in regards to, the same thing. I agree with you. I was hoping that they were going to take that, making the playoffs last year, saying that you have the tools to make it and take that and springboard off and build off what you did. But the problem is unfortunately, and although I do think it's being used as a crutch, I do think that these billion-dollar franchises are using COVID as an excuse to not spend money. Bottom line, the Cincinnati Reds, Kev, are worth $1 billion. According to Forbes, the Forbes article that came out towards the end of last year, $1 billion. Mm-hmm. Are you kidding? And you mean to tell me you can't afford a $20 million a year guy here and there? Like, I don't feel bad, but it's not just the Reds. A lot of teams are using it. So I do believe they're using it as a crutch, to be fair. But with that being said, I was hoping they would have used it as a springboard as well. But here's the deal. I don't believe that the Reds aren't making any impact moves. Charles, you want to know what my impact move is that I think that the Reds made? And again, it's a cop-out. I think them not shipping pieces off is an impact move. I think the Reds not moving on from Moustakas and Castellanos and Eugenio Suarez and Sonny Gray, and even, there was rumors at one point of them, Luis Castillo to the Yankees and some other moves were rumored to be out there. I think that the Reds, standing pat, not doing anything is an aggressive move because the Reds could be very tempted, just like a lot of smaller market teams in Major League Baseball, to ship off guys to save revenue, for the cap. So I think that they have been aggressive by staying put, if that makes any sense at all. But again, it's a very Homer approach. If I was someone other than me, I'd be making fun of me right now for that approach. But I really do mean that, because this is why the Reds are confusing me, Charles, is because the Reds are, they're not spending money. They're not adding any pieces because, COVID's impacted them. Well, then why keep the guys you have now? Why keep those guys just to, why spend all the money? I mean, you're spending a lot of money on Moustakas and Castellanos and these guys. You're spending a lot of money on these guys to just finish third or fourth in the division and not make the playoffs. So I feel like the Reds don't know what they want to do. I feel like they have a little bit of a identity complex right now. Like, they view themselves as a good team, but they also know they're not going to be a good team. They want to be that poor franchise that doesn't want to spend the money. I think they're torn right now on what to do, because this roster is not good enough to win a World Series. But you have a lot of money in this roster. Why spend money on a roster just to finish third in the division and probably just a hair outside the playoffs? That's where I'm frustrated with this team. And to Charles' point, using it as a springboard year is what they should have done.
And that's the biggest difference between baseball and the NBA. When you make trades in the NBA, you have to have equal value. The money has to match up. So in baseball, you don't have to do that. So you're 100% correct. Like, they could have dumped everybody. Like, the Cleveland baseball team did. They basically dumped everybody that had a high price tag or was due to make high money and just kind of like coasted through this year and then reevaluated next year. So with them just kind of more or less staying pat outside of Bauer, you're expecting those bats to wake up. You're expecting those bats to play like they were supposed to last year. You know what I mean? Like last year, they didn't hit the ball well, but though they did in previous years. So you're expecting them to have a bounce back year this year, and you're expecting to play the whole 162 as opposed to a abbreviated season. So you're expecting everybody to play up to the numbers on their back of their baseball card. You're expecting to play a full season and then see where things lay after that. And more importantly, like you talked about with the trade deadline, if things are going your way, then you say, well, man, looks like we got a shot. Then you're more willing to spend more money. If things aren't going your way, then you sell. That's how they normally do in baseball.
Yeah, Charles says, so basically no moves are good moves in your mind, and with an excessive amount of question marks, and I find that obnoxious, so just so you know, Charles. But with that being said, yes, I kind of do think it's a good move in my mind because of the circumstances. I would rather be a Reds fan than a Cleveland baseball team fan right now.
Thank you.
If you're mad at the Reds because they didn't trade away or because they didn't add to what's already a pretty talented roster, I get, like I said, there's always a situation that could be worse. But Charles, to sum up real quick, I think that, yes, somewhat keeping the roster intact was kind of an aggressive move by the Reds, who were so tempted to just unload pieces. All they did all offseason was get calls from teams. Hey, we'll dangle this in front of you for Luis Castillo. We'll give you these prospects for this team, for this guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, they could have easily pulled the trigger on any of those, and it's a get out of jail free card. Then once you trade away all your prospects, you have no expectations.
Right.
And then you could head into a season with no stress of just hoping that you develop some of these farm pieces that you get send into the system and go from there. But the Reds opted to keep this roster intact. To Charles' point, though, it's frustrating that you are that close. You have too many good pieces on this roster to just sit tight and not do anything. But what I'm urging Reds fans to understand is that you act like once the season starts, that's it, that there's no more moves that could be made. I think that it's one of those where the Reds are like, you know what, let's just see what we have. Not only what we have, but let's see what the other teams have too heading into the season. And Charles, I disagree with you. Teams all around them have not been making moves left and right.
I was just about to ask you that.
Now the Cardinals making a move for Arenado, that's a big deal. They have Paul Goldschmidt. The Cardinals right now are the favorites to win this division, and it's because of that Arenado deal. But let's be clear: the Cardinals weren't a playoff team last year. They didn't play good baseball down the stretch last year. You add one player in Arenado, and that fan base is excited. But I like the Reds pitching better. All right, I trust the Reds pitching right now, even with Sonny Gray and Luis Castillo. I don't think anyone in the NL Central, especially, has as strong of a 1-2 punch as what the Reds do as far as that goes right now. And Tyler Mahle, it's another year in the league. Maybe he takes that next step forward. We keep hearing about the Reds pitching coach, just go get anyone off the trash heap, and then he'll just turn them around because he's that good. Well, let's see Tyler Mahle take that next big step here with the Reds. We shall see. But no, I'm just one of those where, yes, the roster is what it is right now, but by the trade deadline, the Reds could pull off some big move, and who knows what happens. But keep in mind, the Cubs are worse than they were a year ago. The Brewers didn't do anything of significance either. They let some big pieces go. The Cardinals add one big piece this offseason, and everyone's like, oh, that's it, the Reds are screwed. I think that makes the Cardinals better, but I don't think that it makes them untouchable. And I think that if the Reds would have made the offseason moves last year that they did this year, everyone would be losing their mind and still excited. You still have Moustakas, you still have Castellanos, you still have Suarez, you have Winker, you have Nick Senzel, year 2 of Shogo Akiyama, Votto. I'm just throwing his name out there to throw it out there. I'm not a big Votto guy. I think that we've seen the best of Joey Votto already. Who knows? I still like this lineup. I still like the rotation. The bullpen is okay. This team is not as bad as what we are thinking. But again, no activity is what is worrying Reds fans. And I get it.
And also, you got to think about what the Cubs have been doing. They're also talking about trading Chris Bryant to the Mets. So they're dumping guys too. The Cubs have lost Schwarber, and for those of you who don't know, he's from Middletown. I know Tom Brenneman is always known for reminding you where he's from, right? So, but no more Schwarber. I mean, they lost Yu Darvish. They lost they're pretty much their whole rotation. Like, that's the thing. The Cubs aren't as strong either. The GM's gone.
So the Cubs they're going in a different. They're about to lose, as you said, Chris Bryant. At some point, he's on the move too. Right. This Cubs team, they're going the opposite direction right now as far as that goes. Ryan Strauss on Facebook says 9 games against the Pirates in the final 2 weeks could help push for a division win.
Rack it up.
Wouldn't expect much in the playoffs, much like last year. That I'm with. Well, folks, let me tell you this. Here's another reason I think that the Reds are going to get better this year. They brought Castellanos and Moustakas in last year to make this a good hitting team, and they were not a good hitting team. But you got to credit a lot of that to Eugenio Suarez had his worst statistical year. All right. Moustakas and Castellanos both had their worst statistical year. Winker had a very good year after a slow start, had a very, very good season. Nick Senzel, if he could stay healthy, is one of the best hitters in the NL Central. So I like this team. The reason I think they're going to get better is because naturally I think that I don't expect 2 back-to-back bad seasons from Castellanos and Moustakas. I just don't expect that. I expect them to naturally go back to who they were, and I think playing in a full 162-game season is going to be a big deal as well. I think the 60-game season threw a lot of guys off. Some were able to navigate through it, others weren't. I think playing getting a full spring training, going right into the season, I think that's going to go a long way in the development of this Reds team this season. David Kendrick on Facebook, maybe not much in the playoffs, but improve the record and get further than a wild card. Right now, with no expanded playoffs, a wild card would feel pretty damn good, if you ask me.
Yeah, and it's all about expectations. You have expectations of simply making the playoffs. I think those are fair expectations for the Reds, but we're fans. We're fans for a reason. Once you make it to the playoffs, once you meet your expectations, you want to get greedy as a fan. You're like, well, shoot, we made it. Why can't we make a run? And that's how it always ends up. Like, that's how at least I was with the Cleveland baseball team last year. When my team made the playoffs, I was like, all right, man, let's get greedy. Unfortunately, we ran into the Yankees and lost again. But, like, that's what happens when you're a fan. Like, going into the season I was told, like, man, Cleveland baseball team is going to make the playoffs. Would you be happy and satisfied with that? I would say 100%. But once they got into it, I was up every day hoping they would win the game. They got swept, and it sucked. So the expectations that you have going into the season, keep that same energy when they get to the playoffs. And of course, when they make it there, you want them to win. But like, if the expectation is to make it to the playoffs and they do that, then it's a win-win, right?
Absolutely. And again, with the Reds staying put and the Cubs taking a step back, the Pirates being a joke of a baseball organization, the Brewers not doing anything, the Cardinals is the only team in the NL Central that actually made a move of any kind of substance. To me, the Reds got better by the other teams subtracting talent from their rosters. The Cardinals adding Arenado doesn't necessarily break the Cincinnati Reds in my opinion. I think the Reds still have I think it's going to come down between the Cardinals and the Reds. We're going to look at the win-loss projections coming up here in just a moment, but I think it is going to come down between the Cardinals and the Reds in the NL Central. And I don't think, and again, I trust the Reds pitching. I like Luis Castillo and I like Sonny Gray. Tyler Mahle will be solid. I don't want to put faith in my fear is Michael Lorenzen. My fear is Michael Lorenzen. And by the way, Wade Miley last year, who was very bad, was also injured. And I think, he's healthy right now. He feels good heading into spring training. I think having a talented lefty like that too, by the way, who we're not expecting to be the ace. But if Wade Miley is just healthy and produces in the level of what we were expecting last year, now you have Luis Castillo, now you have Sonny Gray, now you have either Tyler Mahle or Wade Miley to kind of add a lefty there in the middle of the rotation. And then Tyler Mahle, Michael Lorenzen, that's a pretty solid 5 of a rotation. Again, we are disappointed, but think about this. A year ago, we were pumped about last season, and we didn't even know we had a Cy Young pitcher on our roster. Because Trevor Bauer, let's be clear, we were excited heading into last season, but it wasn't all because of Trevor Bauer, because we had no clue what Trevor Bauer you were going to get. So there's that. All right. Now, on the other side of this commercial break, we will take a look at the win-loss projections for all NL and American League teams on the other side, including your Cincinnati Reds. I extended the tease. We will get to that first thing on the other side. Don't go anywhere. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
D-Max, home of the award-winning Duramax diesel engine, is hiring for production. They're holding a job fair at Golden Gate Park in Brookville, Ohio on February 12th from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Go to dmaxengines.com to download and complete the application, or bring your resume with you.
I'm Terry Krupp of Laird's Tax and Accounting, serving this area's tax and accounting needs for over 80 years. One of the most rewarding aspects of our jobs as tax preparers is that we have families that have used our services for generations. Laird's Tax and Accounting is a pioneer in our industry, being the first to offer new services. We stand behind your return if the IRS has questions. We know the tax code and can make the difficult task of making your tax filing easier. Relax. Contact us at 937-325-6571. Information at Laird lairdstax.com.
The Flower Man here with the Valentine's Day tradition. A free vase and a dozen roses, only $12.99 at the Flower Man. This is not a dream. A dozen roses and a free vase, only $12.99. Thank you, Flower Man. I got myself excited. Go to flowermanflowers.com. That's flowermanflowers.com. It's a tradition.
Germain Honda Beaver Creek is your local Honda dealer. For a limited time, get 0% financing on the 21 Honda Passport, Honda CRV, Honda HRV, and the 21 Pilot. Plus, get $0 due at lease signing on the 2020 CRV, Civic Sedan, and HRV for well-qualified buyers. See me, Sales Manager Jason High, for complete details. We're on Route 35, just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek. Germain Honda Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way.
It's auction time again in North Lima, Ohio, with home improvement products and building materials, and it's all online, ending this Tuesday at 12 noon. Go to pbauctions.com and register to bid on name brand home improvement products online. Kitchens, flooring, Anderson windows and doors, decking, unclaimed freight, and more, all sold online at pbauctions.com. Auction ends this Tuesday at noon, so we'll see you online at the auction.
Dutch Boy's new Platinum Plus paint with Stain Shield technology has the performance you expect from a luxury paint at a price you didn't. Platinum Plus is up to 50% more washable and stain resistant than a leading premium paint in satin sheen. Superiority ranges from 24 to 50% depending on sheen selected. Platinum Plus keeps your walls looking new longer. Menards and Dutch Boy Paint have you covered. Go ahead, live your life.
The Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission is here to assist veterans during this COVID-19 pandemic. Even though we are not meeting face-to-face, we are here for you. We understand it is a difficult time with this virus threat and the strain of implementing social distancing. For those Montgomery County veterans who have lost their source of income due to their employers having to close or reduce their business hours due to the COVID-19 pandemic, you may be eligible for COVID-19 Special Financial Relief Assistance. Please contact the Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801 Monday through Friday for more information or to have an application sent to you. You can also visit mcvsc.org. The Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission is here to help Montgomery County veterans during the COVID-19 crisis. Call 937-225-4801 Monday through Friday or visit them online at mcvsc.org.
It's Mattress Firm's President's Day sale. Right now, get a king bed for the price of a queen or a queen for the price of a twin. Plus, get a free adjustable base when you spend $6.99 on Sealy. Or save up to $500 on Tempur-Pedic adjustable mattress sets. And you can save 50% on select Sealy Queen mattresses. Now just $299.99. Shop Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, and more with our sleep experts. Only at Mattress Firm. Offer valid with qualifying purchase. Restrictions apply. Valid at participating locations only. For offer details, visit mattressfirm.com/sale.
DQ presents. Picture this. A DQ red velvet Cupid cake made for two. This heart-shaped cake is at the center of your perfect date night. There's a layer of red velvet cake blizzard, delicious red velvety cake pieces, and cream cheese icing. Wait, what's that? World famous DQ soft serve. Your Valentine is speechless. It's a DQ Valentine's Day happily ever after. Moments like these are exactly why the DQ Cupid cake exists. DQ. Happy tastes good.
DSC. There are so many razors out there. How do you choose which one's right for you? Well, at Dollar Shave Club, we got you. With a 6-blade cartridge for daily shavers with short hair and a 4-blade cartridge for less frequent shavers with longer hair. Still confused? Well, we put both blades in one new starter box, so you can test drive both. Check out dollarshaveclub.com/ESPN, dollarshaveclub.com/ESPN, and visit DSC at your nearest store. You've got questions, we got answers. Welcome to the club.
Now at a store near you.
It's time for some straight talk. Your tax return could look different this year, but you're still going to hear a lot of noise about how to spend it. So when the big carriers tell you to splurge on the latest nonsense, just tune it out. With Straight Talk, you can get a Samsung Galaxy A51 for just $199. Plus, get the $45 unlimited talk, text, and data plan with no contract on America's best networks for up to 50% less. Tune out the nonsense and tune into Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise.
New year, new goals, and new listens on Audible. Discover Audible Originals, audiobooks, podcasts, and more, all in one place. Start your free trial at audible.com.
Buckeye fans, every Monday night at 6 p.m., make sure to keep it locked in right here on Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes for the Buckeye Roundtable Show. Paul Keels and the crew will bring you the biggest Buckeye headlines on the football field and on the hardwood. It's the Buckeye Roundtable Show, Monday nights at 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER and ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
I swear, if I didn't have this radio show, I would get rid of social media. I would get rid of it in a heartbeat. I have a problem. I have a problem. I can't just keep my mouth shut. I have to keep going and keep arguing, and I can't just stop. You think I'm bad on the show? I'm even worse on social media. It's not good. It's a problem. I need to get it addressed and fixed, but I promise you, whenever I'm out of this old radio gig, I'll get rid of my social media, and I'll be good then. But actually, I don't know. I don't know if I can not talk smack every day and not be able to do it on social media.
What happened?
Nothing happened. I'm not getting into it again today. I'm not going to let these fans. We're playing by different sets of rules again for the two schools. So I'm not going to even go into it.
We didn't even talk about that.
No, we're not going to either. I'm not going into. Someone told me the other day that I forgot my zip code and all that stuff, and I thought that was cute and adorable and all that. So it is what it is. All right, let's talk some more baseball. So we talked about the Reds and the projections, and I appreciate all the reaction on social media, on Facebook. This part is good. I like this type of social media, right? But again, talking about the Reds and the expectations heading into this 2021 season. It is 2021, and it is February 10th already.
Already, it's the 11th.
The 11th. Jeez, I'm cramming. Valentine's Day, by the way, coming up this.
Yes, sir.
The Flower Man has hooked us up with a couple dozen roses that we're going to be giving away for our listeners to surprise their significant other this Valentine's Day, which is this Sunday. We have, again, a couple dozen roses we're going to be giving away throughout the show. I'll tell you how at the top of the hour here at 4 o'clock. So keep that in mind. If you want, again, we're going to have a couple winners today. So keep that in mind. Double the opportunity to be able to win a free dozen roses from the Flower Man. So there's that. The Flower Man. Look, I got a wedding coming up around the corner. He's hooking me up for Valentine's Day and the wedding. So it's going to be, I appreciate it.
Busy dude, man.
Yeah.
Got a lot on your plate.
No, not really. All right. So Major League Baseball. Right now, the season, again, April 1st is when the season starts. The Cincinnati Reds have the St. Louis Cardinals at home at Great American Ballpark. In what I believe will be some fans. We just don't know the total of the fans yet. I am interested to see. By the way, the curfew has been lifted here throughout the state of Ohio. So, that's a positive sign there. Some, for those who aren't happy about it, just don't go out. But some are going to go out and others, and that's good for local businesses around here. And that's the thing. But, with that, we're seeing things start to open up a bit more now, and I'm curious how many fans we could expect to see at Great American Ballpark this year on April 1st when the Reds open up at GABP with the Cardinals. There will be no opening day parade. That was announced a while ago, but nonetheless, any kind of normalcy on opening day would be fine. But let's take a look at the projections, the win-loss projections. We'll start in the American League. And the American League, and this again is according, Major League Baseball put this out. Baseball Prospectus put this out earlier on their social medias, and I do find it interesting. So I'm really excited about this to kind of go through this. The American League, Cav. Let's start on the AL East. According to the Baseball Prospectus, the American League, the AL East, the Yankees, they have the Yankees projected to be 97-65. 97-65. The Tampa Rays. And Tampa's had, quite the success in their little region recently. No kidding. 86-76. Okay. We're live on Facebook, by the way. If you want to head to Facebook and search the Justin Kinner Show, we have the graphics up on the live video feed, so you'll be able to take a look there. So the AL East, the Yankees are projected to be 97-65. They're projected to win the AL East. Tampa coming in behind at 86-76. How about the Blue Jays, 85-77? It's going to be a much tighter AL East than what we've seen the last couple of years. The Orioles down at the bottom, projected to only be in the 60s, about 66-96 their projected record. The Red Sox, though, taking a step forward, getting better, 80-82 their projected record. But interesting nonetheless that little jumble at the top, the Yankees, the Rays, and the Blue Jays.
So the Blue Jays, are they playing in Toronto this year? Because the Raptors in the NBA, they're playing in Tampa.
What was the school that opened up for them last year for the for the Blue Jays to play? Was it in New York? I think it was in Buffalo.
I believe
it was in
York,
Buffalo. Yeah. If I had to guess, that's where they're playing again this season. I would imagine if the Raptors aren't playing and their home court in the NBA, I highly doubt the baseball all of a sudden is just going to be granted that. I don't think you want that either. Crying or flying from one country to the other. So we shall see. Moving over to the AL Central, and anything surprise you, by the way, in the AL East, because the Yankees have spent a lot of money. They had Kluber. They already have a lot of pieces on that roster. The Yankees, they're set. This is like the Yankees we grew up watching. This is they're back to their old bag of tricks. But I like how they did it. They did rebuild for a while. They didn't just, you know what I mean? Like they didn't just go
drop the bag.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these players are homegrown with the franchise. Obviously, a couple free agents sprinkled here and there. But yeah, they're looking like the powerful Yankees again, the evil empire that everybody loves to hate. So it should be an entertaining season.
No, it definitely should. And I'm pretty pumped about that when it does come to the New York Yankees. Look, we talked about villains the other day, that every sport needs that team to hate or that player to hate. Although I don't think there's a player that everyone universally hates. I know that a lot of Reds fans will say Yadier Molina, but that player to hate in Major League Baseball, I don't think exists.
Right.
Right now, I'm sure you dislike some players, but as far as like a universally hated player in baseball, I don't think it exists. I think every sport needs that villain, needs that heel, needs that team. Baseball doesn't have that villain necessarily from an individual, but I do think they have it in from a team perspective. We talked about the Houston Astros, going back to the cheating scandal. And I think that the Yankees are just an easy target. They've always been, the most hated franchise as far as that goes. So, but they have the roster to back it up. The problem is I like Aaron Judge. I'm a huge Aaron Judge fan. And I think that's interesting. But here's their rotation. I mean, when you have Garrett Cole and Corey Kluber, Garrett Cole and Corey Kluber are that's one hell of a 1-2 punch right there. That's one hell of a 1-2 punch. But I do say they do not have the best rotation in New York.
No, not at all.
Even with Bauer snubbing the Mets, the Yankees still have the best rotation in the American League as far as that goes. But, they did add, Aroldis Chapman. They're not add. They brought him back. So they still have Aroldis Chapman. But, you go up and down this lineup, and they added a lot of power to that. But AL Central, the Twins, projected to be 91-71, Kev. And somehow, some way, your Cleveland baseball team projected to win 86 games.
That's about right. That division is terrible. It is horrible. It is the worst division in baseball. That's why. And that's why they made the playoffs last year. That division, the AL Central is just
your
trash.
Rotation, though. Your rotation is why you made that.
Yes.
Any team could have made
But there's the only team with any pop in their lineup is the Twins. So when you have pitching like the Cleveland baseball team does, you're going to mow through the Tigers. They've been terrible for years. Kansas City's up and down. Now, the White Sox, they're all right. Tim Anderson, I'm a big fan of him. But for the most part, it's a two-team race. I believe that the Twins have better players and more pop in their lineup. So that's why I would believe they will win. But yeah, I could see them getting about 80-something wins because in all actuality, even though the Cleveland baseball team made the playoffs last year, because they had some good pitching, but they were going against scrubs. And then when they went up against some real live bats versus the Yankees, we got rock and rolled, and it was ugly.
Yeah, but getting there.
Yes. Yes. Oh, yes.
But I love that. The Indians' rotation last year. With Clevenger and those guys, and that's after losing Kluber. That's after losing Bauer. And if you would have let's say any rotation that has Bauer and Kluber in it, and you take both out, and they don't miss a beat at all. That's how deep that Cleveland was as far as their pitching goes. But man, they've unloaded everything.
Yeah, and that's where the other part about it is, you got Shane Bieber. He won the Cy Young and the AL and everything like that. But he's due to get paid not this year, but like in 2 years. So he's not going to be on the team anymore. Once he's due to get paid, he's not going to be there anymore. And that's just how the Indians, quote unquote, have to play baseball. You have to win with your young talent before they're due a big payday. And if the Cleveland baseball team makes the playoffs this year, I'm gonna be over the moon as usual, and I'll get my feelings all wrapped up into a game, and then it'll probably get swept in the playoffs.
That's what they do. That's what they do. Up next, and again, the White Sox right there in the middle, 83 and 79, and they spent a lot of money last offseason. They're going to be right there in the mix of things as well. The Royals, 71 and 91, and Detroit again down at the bottom. Detroit has not been relevant for quite some time. The AL West, Dusty Baker's Houston Astros, man, right back at the top, expected to finish around 93 and 69 and win the AL West. And finally, the Angels. The Angels are projected, again, this is one of the most overrated, it's one of the most underachieving teams year in and year out. 87 and 75 is their projected record for the 2021 season. And that would only be, let's say they make the playoffs, Kev, that would only be the second time in Trout's career that he makes the playoffs.
Right.
Only the second time in Trout's career that he's made the playoffs. Like, that's ridiculous. But Major League Baseball needs this. You can't have a player like Trout, who statistically is on pace to fight it out with the best ever. You can't have him this far into his career and only participated in one postseason. That just cannot happen. The Angels are letting him down, but baseball is also being robbed of one of its all-time greats, even sniffing the most important month outside of March in any sport, right? It's unbelievable how that works. So that is, and again, the A's coming in at 80 and 82, the Mariners 70 and 92, and the Rangers at 67 and 95. So that's the American League projections for this upcoming season, according to Baseball Pro on Twitter.
You talk about Trout. He's already 29, 30 years old, right?
I think so, yeah.
So the baseball fan in me says, how long is he going to stay there? Is he just going to say, well, this is where I signed my big contract. I'm going to just let it roll all the way out until I become a free agent?
He already signed that. He signed. So when, who did the Padres just sign to a big deal 2 years ago? Oh, that's going to drive me nuts. He's 29 years old, which doesn't, again, he's in his 20s. 30's kind of old in baseball.
Right.
You're talking about, but they already gave him that big 10-year deal. He's the highest paid player in baseball for as far as like the overall. I mean, he got paid.
Yeah.
The Angels made sure he was paid. So he's locked in, and I'm going to hold him to the same standard that I hold, Deshaun Watson in the NFL and others. For Trout to sign that deal, everyone's like, oh, you got to get the money. That's fine. But when you take the money and you sign a contract, that's just like if I have a friend that does nothing but complain about his job and says how much he hates his job, but then he accepts the job, or he ends up turning down another job to stay there. I'm going to look at him and say, hey, can you stop bitching about your job, please? You're choosing to stay there. You had other opportunities to go pursue another career or an opportunity, and you turned it down to stay with your current employer, and all you do is complain. I don't want to hear it. So that's why I'm the way I am about Deshaun Watson. That's why I am about Mike Trout, is I don't feel bad for you. Deshaun Watson knew that the ship was sinking when he signed his extension with the Houston Texans. Mike Trout has known that the Angels, that he hasn't had the success from a team perspective that he has wanted, and yet he still signed that big deal. Oh, well, he may not have got that money elsewhere. You mean to tell me? We're seeing money being thrown around all over the place in Major League Baseball. Trust me, he would have got that money elsewhere if he wanted. The Yankees would have unloaded anything they would have needed to get him. The Mets, with their new owner, he would get paid there. Trust me, teams would pay for Mike Trout. So I don't feel bad for Trout. I don't feel bad for Deshaun Watson and Trout and guys like that when the ship is sinking and you choose to take a mass extension. Oh, well, the money will be there with other teams. And if you want to bank on yourself that you're going to get that money and stay, then more power to you. Great, but you can't a year later ask out. Mike Trout, if they don't make the playoffs this year, but you're saying it from a team perspective, though, like a team looking to move on.
Yeah, like him, well, him too, because I think back to Alex Rodriguez when he left the Mariners.
The king of leaving.
He left the Mariners, signed a big deal with the Rangers, right? He was with the Rangers for I want to say 3 or 4 years. Maybe it was 4 years, but he pressed them, and they traded him to the Yankees. So that's my thing. For a guy like Mike
Machado, thanks, Ron Howard Machado.
Look at Ron coming
through. I didn't know you knew how to type anyone's name, but Tom Brady there, Ron. But no, Machado, yes. When he got that money with the Padres right away is when the Angels came in and swooped in. And I think it was $450 million. I mean, it was insane. But go back
signed
to
it in blood. No, but I just remember when Alex Rodriguez signed that deal with the Rangers, he was there for 3 or 4 years, and they were losing. He was winning MVPs just like Trout is, but they weren't winning games. And he wanted out, and they made a deal to get him to the Yankees. But he was only, I want to say, 27, 28 when that happened. Mike Trout's already 30 years old.
29, well, yeah. But by the time this season wraps up, because we're basing it on, man, if the Angels miss the playoffs again, like I think there's a lot of pressure on the Angels to make the playoffs. You need to make that. I think there's pressure on Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if there's many situations where a fan base puts pressure on your organization, but I can't think of a time where a league is desperate for you to figure it out. Like imagine if LeBron would have just stayed in Cleveland forever. Like the league would be disappointed in Cleveland. The league would have been disappointed in Cleveland not figuring out a way to get him. And, I guess it's different though because they were in the playoffs. They were in the Eastern Conference Finals and they went to the finals early. That's a bad example. I'm just trying to think of. I can't think of a talent that has been wasted more in any sport than him. Like Dan Marino at least got to a Super Bowl. I'm talking. I mean, this cat can't even make the playoffs.
But this is beyond his control, though. He's doing everything.
No, I'm ripping the Angels. Well, I mean, is he? If that's the case, but if that's the case, if that's everything he can do, then he's not worth $450 million. Like, wow. To be fair, I don't think it's fair to put that on a baseball player, but that's why I also don't think that. That's why I hate that sport is set up the way it is. Of all that, like LeBron, a single player can single-handedly win you a title in basketball. Football, adding Tom Brady can single-handedly totally change the entire atmosphere of a team and lead you to a Super Bowl. In baseball, players, yes, talent matters, but the superstars don't. I think there's a lot of good players. You can win a World Series with a roster full of good players. In the NBA, if you put together the deepest team with the best, with just good, solid overall players with no superstar, they're not winning. But in Major League Baseball, you can have look at the Rays. They don't have a superstar player.
Because a pitcher can only pitch once.
Which is funny because pitchers pay all you want.
Yeah, you can pay. A pitcher can pitch probably, if you're lucky, 3 times in a series. In baseball, they can take Mike Trout out the game. They can walk him every single time. Like, you can't hit. Walk them.
I don't think superstars matter in baseball. Superstars matter in football. They matter in basketball. They do not matter in baseball. Hear me out. Mike Moustakas, Nick Castellanos are not superstars. They're just good, quality, all-star level players. You just need all-stars on your roster to win. You don't need superstars. If I was a general manager of a team and everyone's like, well, it's a good thing you're not, I would not pay any player that much money ever. I don't care how good they are. I don't care if they came in and said, pay me or I'm out. I'm not even going to extend the negotiation process. It's like, we'll see ya. Bye. Because for the amount of money I'm going to spend on you, you could build a World Series team with 6 to 7, 15 mil a year guys. Like you could, that's a lot. Maybe let's say 5, but like Moustakas, I think is about 15 mil a year. Castellanos,
are you
is close
saying
to that
now,
deal.
or this is how long do you think it's been that way then? Because I can say, like, man, you can look at the Boston Red Sox. That team was full of superstars. You can look at the Yankees back when Jeter was there. That team was full of superstars. So when do you think this era began where that you can win with, all-star level players as opposed to superstars?
I mean, hold on. Let me pull this. And of course, the monitor went blank. I was going to go pull that up. Remember, we talked about how baseball is weird because, think back to the NBA. How many finals appearances did the Warriors have this past decade? How many finals appearances did the Cavs have? Mm-hmm. Like, you saw a lot of the same finals matchups and the same teams in the finals this past 10 years. Major League Baseball, of the last 10 years, 8 different teams won a World Series. 8 different teams won a World Series in this past decade. You had back-to-back appearances by the Royals at one point. You had back-to-back. Did Cleveland get back-to-back? No, they just made it to the one that lost to the Cubs. I just had to rub that in. Thanks. Who else made it back-to-back years? Maybe not. San Francisco won it every other year for a stretch.
Right.
But no. So, like, with that being said, there's a clear pattern out there. I mean, how many of those had superstar players? Here's the last thing on this. The Washington Nationals, they don't end up paying Bryce Harper.
Right.
And everyone's like, but you got to pay Bryce Harper. He's a generational talent. You got to pay him. They don't pay him. He hasn't been to the playoffs since, and they have a World Series since. Like, that's the thing. So, like, Philly, they paid a lot of money to go get him. They paid a lot of money to go after their catcher, to go after some pitching, and it just hasn't worked out. They haven't even made the playoffs. And that's, you know what I'm saying? Like, those are the best of the best, right? I just don't think it is worth it. The Reds, okay? Joey Votto is a tremendous talent. Was he worth the $250 million or whatever, $225 million that he got? You can argue that he lived up to, from a statistical standpoint, lived it up. But from a team perspective, was it worth it? I mean, from the time that he won the MVP to the expectations after, I don't think so. I don't think it was worth it. I would rather have taken that money and divided it up between a couple different players to provide you with what you need. I just don't believe in the superstar player in baseball. I don't believe you need one. I believe you need the pitching. I believe you need the Luis Castillos and the Sonny Grays and the Trevor Bauers of the world. I don't think you need, let's say that. Let's live in an imaginary world where Mike Moustakas or where Mike Trout says, man, I want to play for the Reds. That was my favorite team growing up. I want to be a Cincinnati Red. Mm-hmm. I would say, sorry, can't pay you. Not going to do it. I think it would, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think these star players make any teams better. I don't think Bryce Harper made the Phillies better.
What about Mookie Betts?
But Mookie Betts, look at all the talent on that roster for the Dodgers. Like
they didn't win it before he showed up.
What is that pitching?
I'm just saying, like, when you put in star players like that, it not only helps the star player, but it helps the role players behind them. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but like you can't like walk back-to-back pitchers. Like I always used to see Barry Bonds get walked, and then Jeff Kent would be up and hitting a home run right after him and everything like that. Like it forces you to pitch to certain players, and you're trying to maneuver things around. And I know my era of watching baseball really spans from basically 1990 to the year 2000. So basically, when the Cleveland baseball team was good and when the Yankees were good. But I just think back to those Yankee teams. You had Bernie Williams. You obviously had Derek Jeter. Joe Torre, even though he was the manager, like he was like a rock star. Like those
Joe Torre didn't win nothing until he was the manager of those teams.
True, and it was loaded with.
I had to because Schlemmer, for every time someone would bring up Joe Torre, I would just look over. I was sitting where you were. Schlemmer sits where I sit, and every time a caller would bring up Joe Torre, I would just look over at Schlemmer, and he'd just be shaking his head because I knew it. So I had to get that in.
He wasn't a Joe Torre guy.
No, for that reason right there. Of like a lot of like for instance, look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year. He is a good quality coach, but let's be clear. I mean, like he's a Super Bowl, and I say this in the NBA all the time. I'm not an Eric Spoelstra guy. All your titles with LeBron. You get back to the finals, so good for you this past year, but you lost it because you didn't have LeBron. If you notice, the team that had LeBron won it. It's funny how that works. There's a lot of teams.
So you're not a Phil Jackson guy either?
No, I'm a Phil Jackson guy.
So he had Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Shaquille O'Neal, and Kobe Bryant.
No, those teams. I mean, so did who was Doug Collins. Doug Collins had them, couldn't win with them. You had Phil Jackson. Boom, they start winning. Phil Jackson steps away from the Lakers. They can't win championships. Boom, they get Phil Jackson back. Boom, Kobe goes on his second 3 straight finals appearances. They win 2 of those 3.
I mean, arguably, they got some of the. I mean, without a doubt, they got some of the best players that ever played the game. I just find it weird that you don't like those guys, but you do like this guy. And Steve Kerr's doing one heck of a job this season, by the way, with the Warriors.
We'll see when he's out, just like everyone else is out of the playoffs. He's right back to the front of the line with everyone else. I'm just saying. How about this? Chris on Facebook says LeBron didn't win anything his first year for the Lakers by himself, like Brady did in his first year. LeBron needed a bunch of help to get his stacked to be able to win. Well, Chris, let me ask you, I mean, can you name an NBA player that's won an NBA Finals with nothing around him? I can't think of one. Even your precious MJ, because he's an MJ fan. Even your precious MJ. I know that the years before he won a final just don't exist in the eyes of Bulls fans, but like he did a lot of losing. He did a lot of playoff knockouts. He was knocked out of the playoffs a lot. A lot. No, these are facts. These aren't opinions. He was knocked out of the playoffs a lot, and it's okay to be knocked out of the second round in the Eastern Conference Finals. That's okay, apparently, but when you lose in the finals, there's just no, you can't do that. But anyways, we're not into the NBA right now. We're in the Major League Baseball.
Get there.
We haven't even got to the National League yet for these win-loss projections, but to sum up real quick, I do not think that there's a superstar out there in baseball that is worth the money that he is being paid. I will pay pitchers all day. I think pitchers are very important, but I think you can. I think that if the Reds had a quality pitching staff again, like let's say Castellanos and Moustakas lived up to the back of their baseball card last year, and Suarez didn't have a down year, and Nick Senzel could just magically stay healthy for one damn year, and Winker, one of the best hitters on the team, wink, wink, you have to take him out every time he faces a left-handed pitcher. If those guys all live up to what they're supposed to, I think the Reds are capable of making a deep playoff run, and you don't need a Bryce Harper. You don't need a Mike Trout. I don't think you need a Giancarlo Stanton. I don't think that the Reds' issues are on the offensive end. It's going to be pitching and the bullpen and the consistency as far as that goes. Keith Tolliver says, Kawhi Leonard won solo. No, he did not. He benefited from Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant and all them being injured throughout that final. So just throwing that out there. Kevin's not going to say a word because he Brady says Tony Gwynn only had 3 appearances in the postseason. Also one of the best hitters of all time. Yeah, I mean, there's right now Trout's on that pace. Still won. Okay. Still won. I mean, what? I mean, yeah, but anyways, how the Clippers doing?
I think Clippers are 3rd in the West right now. They're
winning games, but it's not playoff time yet. So playoff P, baby. We'll be back in a moment.
He's hurt right now.
It's not the playoffs. That's why they call them playoff P. All right, we'll be back in a moment. That was the American League. Let's take a look at the National League. I mean, this has been the most drawn out. And what's the Reds' projected record? Next.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
There's nothing better than a fresh-made home-style meal, but not everyone loves the hassle of cooking. At Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, home-style happens here with our famous 12-piece family meal at a great price. This famous family meal includes 12 mixed pieces of Lee's fresh, never-frozen chicken that is honey-dipped, hand-breaded, and cooked to perfection, plus 3 large sides and 6 fluffy biscuits. Get a home-style meal made easy today with Lee's 12-piece family meal at a great price. Only at Lee's, famous for chicken.
O'Reilly. It's O-Rewards Bonus Points Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts, which means you'll save money and reach your next reward even faster. Earn double O-Rewards points on 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil, just $28.95, and get a $10 gift card after mail-in rebate. Collect 150 points and get a $5 reward. Don't miss O-Rewards Bonus Points Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Rural King's pet food prices has pet lovers going wow. Rural King has a huge selection filled with top brands including Science Diet, Purina, and Diamond. And with the pet food price guarantee, we won't be beat. And when you use the Harvest Card, get an extra 5% back on all Rural King purchases. That's 5% back on pet food, pet beds, treats, toys, and for that matter, everything else. See store for complete details. And if you find a cheaper price, we'll beat it at your neighborhood Rural King, America's farm and home store.
Staples has everything you need to start the year right, like home office furniture, the latest tech and organizational supplies, and all at amazing prices. Get a fresh start this year with big savings from Staples.
Dayton Flyers basketball fans, don't miss Talking Out Loud with Sully every Thursday night at 6 p.m. Game recaps, game previews, visits from former Flyer greats, and more. It's a show by the fans, for the fans. Talking Out Loud with Sully, Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Wear red and be loud. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com. WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio. It's the Justin Kinner Show, live here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM. Tweet the show at 1410 Kinner or give us a call at 457-9464. We now send you to the Wing Studios in Kettering. Here's your host, Justin Kinner.
On viewer, are we good? Mic's working?
We do.
All right. Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome in. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash back with you here in hour number 2. All right, so we're live on Facebook. The Flower Man has hooked us up. We got more roses for this Valentine's Day, okay? The Flower Man has hooked us up. The Flower Man here in Centerville has hooked us up with a couple dozen roses to give away to you, our listeners. All you have to do is make sure you are a follower and a follower of the Justin Kinner Show page on Facebook. So if you're listening right now and you're not watching and following along on Facebook or on YouTube, make sure you get to Facebook when you can and like the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page and follow along, okay? So you have to like the show page to be able to be in the drawing to win a free dozen roses from the Flower Man here in Centerville. So we will be drawing that winner at 5:30. At 5:30, we're on hanging out with you until 6. We're going to have the winners' names and be contacting you at 5:30. But you have to like the show page. So head to Facebook, search the Justin Kinner Show page, and like the show page. And we're going to be generating our winner through those who like the show page here today. So make sure you go and check that out. All right, let's get back back to our conversation. Vincent Waller, let me reset here. So we were talking about the National League and the American League win and loss projections for this coming up season. Very interestingly enough, the Indians or the Cleveland baseball team. I've heard some people still call. I think it was who was it today on the NFL Live or on First Take today. They kept calling them the Washington Redskins, and they kept having to stop themselves. And I'm going to keep doing that too. My biggest problem with the Indians is if you're going to change the Cleveland Indians name because it's offensive, you need to do it now and don't do it a year from now. Absolutely. Well, we got to change the Cleveland Indians name because it's offensive, but we're going to wait till 2022 because we still have to finish making money off the Indians' red face. So we got to make sure. Like that's what drives me nuts is you're not going to get people to take it serious when you're keeping it that. Right. Like at least Washington changed it right away. There was no, well, we still got T-shirts out on the market that we need to sell and stuff. So we're going to keep it at that. If the Cleveland baseball team, if you're the Cleveland Indians this year and you're changing it because it's offensive, well, if you're changing it because it's offensive, why aren't you changing it now? Whatever your opinion is on it, and some people are mocking it, whatever. That says more about you than me, so whatever. But the bottom line is that the Indians look even dumber in this situation.
I agree.
Change it now. If it's offensive enough to change it all, then change it now. Don't wait for a year so that you could finish making money off the final T-shirts you have being sold at Meijer and Walmart and elsewhere.
It's halfway done because the uniforms, they just have Cleveland on them now, and they rock the block C. They don't use any the old Chief Wahoo stuff on any of the uniforms or anything like that. They don't even use the I on a lot of their uniforms anymore. So it's almost like you're doing everything but the most important thing by changing the name. Like, it's stupid, to be perfectly honest.
Because a lot of this stuff isn't being done for the right reason. It's being done to win the PR war. That's what's driving me nuts. Is I don't put a lot of faith into the you know what I mean, into the actions that are being out there. A lot of businesses are doing certain things just to, look at us. We're don't call us names. We're good. We're doing the right thing over here. That's what Cleveland's doing right now. I don't know. That frustrates me. But anyways, I say all that to get to this. They're projected to win 86 games this year. First of all, Kev, the Reds last year weren't even projected to win 86 games, and the roster was significantly better. And I'm not convinced that the division is that much better than your division in the American League over there, but it is what it is. So, but we got to talking about, the impact of stars in baseball somehow. It wasn't even on my rundown for today, but like as good as Mike Trout is, how much of an impact is he actually having on the Angels? It's interesting to me. Baseball we view as differently. I don't think we really dissect the resumes of baseball's all-time greats by World Series. Right. We just don't. I've never heard. I mean, Barry Bonds. The only time we talk about Barry Bonds is he a Hall of Famer or not? And the reasons that he's not a Hall of Famer have nothing to do with the fact that the dude's never won a World Series. Right. It's strictly because of the. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It is what it is. It's interesting how that's all going to be panning out, but. I don't know.
It's all based upon stats. That's how baseball is viewed, and that's how they view their Hall of Famers and their all-time great players. And to be perfectly honest, I don't see a big problem with that because it is such a team-oriented sport. One person can't carry you to a World Series, even though Barry Bonds basically did. They didn't win that time he was with the San Francisco Giants and everything like that, but he put on a show. I remember like his percentage of hitting home runs was outstanding. Because he wasn't even getting pitched to that many times, but when he did make contact with the ball, it was always like a double or off the fences and everything like that. But just like in baseball, when a guy is so good and so hot like Barry Bonds was in that run they had to the World Series, they can take him out the game by just pitching around him and walking him.
Yeah, and keep in mind that that's why I'm surprised that baseball players get paid as much as they do, because of that fact right there. There is not a hitter out there that can carry you to a World Series. There's just not. Mike Trout, as good as he is, I don't think. I mean, let's be honest. Is there a team in Major League Baseball right now that you could say they are a Mike Trout away from being a World Series team? I don't think there is. I just don't. And again, there's probably people out there that are screaming a team's name at their car radio or wherever you're listening. But I'm curious your thoughts. 457-9464. We put so much emphasis on how much these guys are getting paid. In football, I think the reason that it's uncomfortable when it comes to talking about quarterbacks in the NFL, but when I say, Dak Prescott doesn't deserve this, doesn't deserve that, the quarterbacks deserve, the quarterback should be the highest paid position in all of sports, period. Not Mike Trout in baseball. Like Dak Prescott, as much as I'm arguing that he shouldn't get $35 million a year, Kev, I think he deserves way more money for what he does for his team. I think Dak Prescott does more for his NFL team than what Mike Trout does for his baseball team. I just don't think that the stars have as much impact on their teams in baseball as they do in football and basketball. And I don't think that's a hot take. I think that's kind of common sense. I mean, as I bring this example up all the time, Bryce Harper left Washington because he just felt they just weren't going to get it done. Just couldn't get it done. I can't win here. I want to go elsewhere and get paid and win. And he goes to the Phillies and he gets paid. And not only has he not been to the playoffs, his team that he left just won a World Series 2 years ago. Like, it's amazing to me. I just don't think stars have as much of an impact. The superstars, not stars. I think you need all stars. I don't think you need superstars in Major League Baseball to win. The NBA, you're not winning a championship without at least two superstars on your roster. That's just not happening anymore. And that's even going back to the 90s. I mean, it was Michael and Pippen. That's why you won those finals. It was Michael and Pippen, and nothing's changed since then. I know it's Michael's Bulls, but it was Michael and Pippen. It was LeBron, Bosh, Wade in Miami. It's LeBron and Anthony Davis in LA right now. It's Steph Curry and Klay Thompson with the Warriors, and it was Steph Curry and Kevin Durant with the Warriors on that little dynasty run there. It's always been a 1-2 punch in the NBA.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, you can go back to the 80s with, Bird and McHale, and you can go back to Magic and Kareem, and then once Kareem finally retired, it was Magic and Worthy and everything like that. Yeah, it's a at least a two-man situation, two superstar situation in the NBA for sure.
All right, it's the Justin Kinder Show with Kev Nash here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Vincent Waller says pitchers are riskier. So my point is, by the way, I said I would rather pay pitchers than a Mike Trout, but Waller brings up a good point here. He says pitchers are riskier to pay huge money. They can be great for a season or two, but one blown elbow and things can be totally different. Position players can still be productive hitters. If they lose the power, still play great defense. And if they don't do any of those, then you're stuck with Joey Votto and a stubborn manager who continues to bat him number one in the lineup, but that's a conversation for later. He goes on to say if they aren't hitting well, if pitchers lose their control or their fastball slips, they can flame out quickly. I think pitchers are definitely the greater risk. But big picture, if I pay a pitcher for 6 years and I get 2 great years out of you in a World Series, it's all worth it. It's all worth it. I mean, is paying all that money to Mike Trout, the $450 million, let's say he gets to the end of his 12-year deal and does not win a World Series, was that worth it to the Angels? Is it worth it to the Angels to pay all that money for a guy that does not bring back a World Series? I don't think so at all. I think that the Bucs taking a chance on Tom Brady, to them, they were like, you know what, it's worth it. We're going all in. And if we get a Super Bowl out of it, it doesn't matter how much we spent on Tom Brady, it was worth it. You know, if they spent all that money on Tom Brady, Kevin, they end up not winning a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Are they regretting it? I don't think so. No. Not as much because they still have a shot. Like I said, superstars don't even make playoff teams in baseball. Like you could put a superstar on a bad team in the NBA. They're at least a playoff team at that point. Like put Bradley Beal on any of those fringe 9 and 10 teams right now in the East or West. Boom, they're in. I said fringe, not bad, because if bad, then the Wizards would be in the mix, right?
Exactly where they are. So I don't know, man. I look at pitching, and people that know more about baseball can correct me, but a pitcher at most, what you're gonna pitch 22 games, 22 of the 162
on a healthy year, yeah.
So a batter, an outfielder, whoever is in the lineup every day, you're expecting them to at least get 140 games played. Like, I think you just get more bang for your buck that way if you're paying a everyday player as opposed to a pitcher.
But if I'm going to get in the playoffs, I want that pitcher. Like, Trevor Bauer last year was huge for the Reds. The reason everyone was so pissed that the Reds didn't get a win in the playoffs last year is because they couldn't produce one run.
Right.
Trevor Bauer's performance was good enough for them to win 3-0, 2-0. They could have won 1-0. They should have won 1-0. I mean, at the very least, one run, and the Reds are probably advancing to the second round of the playoffs because I thought that all the pitchers pitched that well. Nonetheless. All right, 457-9464. Kev, who we have?
We got Rich.
Rich, thanks for holding. How are you?
It's Reggie, man.
Reggie. Are you rich? Are you rich, Reggie?
Shit, hey.
Come on, Reggie. You can't swear on the air. And Kevin, you came in quick there. You came in with I
had a conversation with the bosses.
Yeah. So the rule is on the show, the second you swear, you're not in trouble. We're not, angry at you, but we got to get you off there. We got to drop you. We can't have those words going over the air. which has been a tough thing for me. I contain myself every day from 3 to 6. The least you callers could do is contain yourself for the 60 seconds you get on the show. Just throwing that out there. But Reggie, we hung up on you. You swore. We'll get to some more of your calls coming up here in just a moment. You just can't swear, but I'm curious what he thought. But
we'll find out tomorrow.
It sounded like it was off to a good start, though. It sounded like he was ready to go. Keith Tolliver on Facebook says, so Brady only won because the Chiefs were missing players. You're better this take, Jay. No, come on. Do you really think? Really? And you already know what side you're on, so I'm not even going to get you started.
What?
But the Toronto Raptors were not going to beat the Golden State Warriors if they were completely healthy. They just weren't. There's no way. There's no way. I am not better than that. I am that. So there you go.
You know where I'm at. Injuries are part of the game. Oh, well.
It's not oh, well. I don't even know. It's not a well. Like the Warriors are NBA champions if those guys play. So, but again, they didn't, and they won, and he has a championship. But to sit there and say, "Oh man, Kawhi, he's a legend. He led him to a final. He led him to a team that was beaten down and injured, and there you go. That's what happened.
He's rocking 2 rings, baby.
That's fine. The first one wasn't because of him, and the second one was because of Kevin Durant should be the MVP for the Raptors too.
Hold on,
being out.
When they won, he was MVP of the finals with the Raptors. With the Spurs.
Huh? Oh, wow. I mean, so was Manu Ginobili at one point, and no one's looking at him as an all-time. Well, he is an all-time great, but not like at the level of we're talking about like the superstars like LeBron and Kobe and others.
I'm just saying he was the MVP of the finals.
Okay, that's fine. Nick Foles was the Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, I'm just saying he was the MVP of the finals twice, and he's on his way to the Hall of Fame.
Jason Pruitt said, Chiefs fans here, I disagree with that. The team played horrible as a whole. So there's that.
So, yeah, that's what I was confused where he's talking about the NBA Finals or you're talking about the Super Bowl in his question.
He was saying, based on my take, that the reason the Bucs won the Super Bowl was because the Chiefs were banged up.
Well, no, hey, man, injuries are a part of the game, man.
This is the most ADD show ever. We haven't even I haven't revealed the win-loss projections. This is called drawing it out, baby.
Keep them on the hook for every 15 minutes.
Classes in session, folks. This is called drawing it out 101. Yeah. All right, 457-9464. I don't even know what the hell the original conversation, the topic all stemmed from, the win-loss projections. Let's look at the win-loss projections, and then we'll dissect it more on the other side. So we took a look. Here's the American League the win-loss projections for this season. The Yankees projected to be 97-65, projected to win the AL East. The AL Central, the Twins, a 90-win team, projected to win about 91 games. Cleveland, right there at 86. That's a lot. I'm going to take the under on that. I don't see Cleveland winning 86. 75 wins, right about there. I have no clue where their 86 wins coming from. I have no idea. I have absolutely no clue where their 86 wins are coming from.
Today is February 11th, 2021. Kenner, what's the?
They're going to win around 75 games. That's 86 wins. Give me a break. I don't care how
75.
75. And then so the Twins projected to win the AL Central, and the AL West, the Houston Astros, the Houston Cheaters.
Boo.
I'm pulling for the Astros. I don't know why. The teams that everyone hates, I always seem to like.
The Cheaters, man.
I just can relate to them, I guess. Okay. So real quick, take a look. Here's the National League win-loss projections. We'll get into the dissection of this on the other side. But the New York Mets, no surprise, projected to win the NL East. 96 wins is about what they're projected to be at. The Washington Nationals, 85-77. Philly, 83-79. That could be another year out of the playoffs for Philly, even though they would be above 500. Going to be an interesting follow there. The Milwaukee Brewers are projected to be 89-73 in the NL Central, Kev. We're sitting here talking about the Reds and the Cards. The Brewers are projected to be 89-73 in the NL Central. I don't like any of these projections, to be honest with you. Not just because, the Reds are where I thought, but they have the Reds as number 4 in the NL Central.
Wow.
The only team that the Reds are going to be better than is the Pirates, and the Reds are going to have less wins than the Cleveland baseball team. Are you kidding me? Come on, give me a break. The Brewers are projected to be 89-73. The Cubs, who literally got rid of all their pitching, basically, projected to be 85-77. The Cardinals, who just had Arenado, projected to be dead even at 500 at 81-81. The Reds are projected to be a 79-win team. Reds fans, are you taking the over or the under there? According to Baseball Prospectus, they are projected to be a 79-win team in 2021. Your
Power
Cincinnati
affect
Reds.
them that much?
No, I don't see how Bauer leaving could impact him that much. This is still one of the best hitting. I will take this lineup versus what most teams in the NL Central have at this point. I like Arenado and Goldschmidt. All right, I mean, the Cardinals are okay, but look, the Cardinals are even getting the third place treatment, but the Reds projected to finish fourth in the NL Central. Come on, they're not that bad. I don't even think they're bad. I think they're a very good ball club. I just think that they didn't make any sexy moves this offseason and has a lot of Reds fans uncomfortable. All right, 457-9464 Reds fans over under. Baseball Prospectus has them projected to win 90 or 79 games this year. Over or under? Just to give you a little bit of idea here for context, they have the Cleveland baseball team winning 86 games. What? Were they aware of the updated offseason moves?
What moves?
We'll be back. Don't go anywhere. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be mostly cloudy, a high near 25. Tonight's also going to be mostly cloudy but windy, a low around 15. And tomorrow will be mostly cloudy, a high near 28. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
From shredding to printing, the UPS store does every ing for small business. And this holiday, when the other guys are closing, we're doing another ing altogether, opening. So while we're busy notarizing and copying, consulting and mailboxing, packing and shipping, well, they're not really doing much of any ing. Opening this holiday, the UPS store. Every ing for small business, all in one place.
The UPS store.
The UPS store franchise locations are independently owned and operated. Services, pricing, and hours may vary. See Center for details.
D-Max, home of the award-winning Duramax diesel engine, is hiring for production. They're holding a job fair at Golden Gate Park in Brookville, Ohio on February 12th from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Go to dmaxengines.com to download and complete the application or bring your resume with you.
The Flowerman here with the Valentine's Day tradition. A free vase and a dozen roses, only $12.99 at the Flowerman. This is not a dream. A dozen roses and a free vase, only $12.99. Thank you, Flowerman. I got myself excited. Go to flowermanflowers.com. That's flowermanflowers.com. It's a tradition.
Need legal help? We can help. Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. Have you heard about our new help center? It's located at the Montgomery County Courthouse, providing legal information and forms. And we also share programs and resources that may be available to you. Let us help you navigate the court system. Visit us online at courthouse2u.com for more info.
My name is Kate Courtley, and this is my new show, Can You Survive This Podcast? I'll be drawing on my years as a former Navy SEAL platoon commander, sniper, and CIA contractor. The show is designed to teach you techniques that will increase your chances of survival if you happen to find yourself or your family in any life-threatening disaster scenario imaginable. Subscribe and listen for free on Apple Podcasts. Can You Survive This Podcast?
Listen to this radio station on the radio.com app anytime, anywhere. Listen to more than 300 stations along with more than 3,000 podcasts from your home area or across the U.S., all free.
With the radio.com app.
Looking for a career and not just a job? Then Dayton Progress is looking for you. Dayton Progress is the leading international manufacturer of tools and tooling components for the metal stamping industries and has immediate openings for entry-level machinist. No prior experience is required, and Dayton Progress will train you, starting with the basics. They offer competitive wages with merit increases after 90 days of employment. They also offer private health care, including vision and dental, free life insurance, a contributory 401k, bonus programs, promotions from within, company service recognition, and 100% tuition reimbursement to local state colleges. Dayton Progress is a great place to work and has been a Dayton landmark for over 70 years. Apply today by emailing your resume to jobs@DaytonProgress.com. That's jobs@DaytonProgress.com. Dayton Progress is an equal opportunity employer.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
Merrill Guided Investing. Visit merrilledge.com/investing goals. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner, and Smith Incorporated, both a registered broker-dealer and investment advisor. Member SIPC.
1410 ESPN Radio is Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes on the hardwood. Football may be over, but basketball is just heating up. Support Chris Holtman and his Buckeyes as they battle it out in the toughest conference in all of college basketball, the Big Ten. Every dribble, every shot, every Buckeyes win. Catch it all right here on ESPN 1410 Ring AM. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
That'd be really funny if that was picked up, by the way. Just saying. Just throwing it out there.
Maybe it should have been picked up.
Maybe it should have been, but it would have been taken out of context, which would have been even funnier. Just throwing that out there. We welcome you back, Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station. We're live on Facebook. Coming up here an hour from now at 5:30, we are going to be selecting our winners for a couple free dozen roses from the Flower Man here in Centerville. And all you have to do is head to head to Facebook and search the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook. So head to Facebook, like the Justin Kinner Show page, and you'll be in the running to potentially win a free dozen roses from the Flower Man here in Centerville. We will be contacting the winners at 5:30. So make sure you like the show page. If you don't like the show page, you don't win the roses. So keep that in mind. All right, let's get back to this, and then we'll close this part of the conversation out. We'll transition over to some other topics here in a moment. But for those watching live on Facebook, here is the win-loss projections for the National League teams here in 2021. And the Cincinnati Reds are projected to be a 79-83 win team. And I cannot wrap my head around that. I know people are down on this Reds team right now, but you're down on this Reds team because they were quiet this offseason. They didn't make the moves that you thought that they should have made. And with that being said, just because they didn't make moves this offseason does not mean that they're all of a sudden a bad ball club. Let me reset with this. A year ago, this same roster minus Trevor Bauer had every one of you excited about the upcoming season. Every one of you were pumped about the addition of Mike Moustakas and Nick Castellanos. Every one of you. Every one of you were big fans of this team and the direction that they were going in. And don't tell me it was because of Trevor Bauer. Trevor Bauer was one reason you were excited about last season. But if you really thought that last year that the Reds were going to be as good as they were because of one guy being Trevor Bauer, you're full of it. There is no way that a year ago, considering that Trevor Bauer had not been elite for at least a good 2 years, okay? That's one reason that it made it easy on the Cleveland baseball team to move on from him in the first place. And then when he did get to Cincinnati, he played horrible in the back half of the season after they traded for him. So a year ago, coming into the season at this time, we were not saying, oh, we're going to be good because of Trevor Bauer. We kept saying, if Trevor Bauer returns to form, we're going to be pretty good. But, man, we're going to be really good because of Moustakas and Castellanos and Eugenio Suarez and Nick Senzel and so on and so on, right? Like that's kind of where we're at with this. So I have a hard time buying into why everyone is so down on this team. If you think because they moved on from Horacio Iglesias and they're going to take a step back, Horacio Iglesias, every one of you were pissed that they didn't trade him at the deadline last year. No one was upset when they moved on from him this past offseason because as good as he potentially was, he was just as bad on any given night. How many games did he blow for the Reds? How many big game, high leverage situations did he enter the game in and cost the Reds games last year when he should have been the guy that was the perfect setup? You get 6 to 7 innings out of your starter. You hand it off to Lorenzen and Amir Garrett in those back-to-back situations and hand it off to the closer. My favorite baseball scenarios were 6 to 7 innings from your starter, Michael Lorenzen coming in for the 8th, or for the 6 innings from your starter. 7th inning is Lorenzen, 8th inning Amir Garrett, or heaven forbid both one of those guys get both innings, and then hand it off to to Iglesias in the 9th. I love that. That's what it should have been. But David Bell, again, the smartest man in the room when it comes to baseball, butchered all of that, but that's a conversation for later. We haven't even got into that. My point is, this Reds team is better than the 79 win team. They just are.
All right. So my question on that prediction would be, how much is this prediction based around the players on the team, and how much is this based off of the management decisions about going to the bullpen early, not letting pitchers finish out games and things of that nature?
Well, I don't think that plays a role in it, only because that's how everyone calls games right now.
Okay.
I mean, that's across the board. There's, less than a handful of old school style managers, Dusty Baker being one of those. Madden he's not an old school guy. He's more of a mixture of the two, but he has more of the new school principles. But I don't think that plays a role in it, because the majority of teams play the way the Reds do, which is why I think the majority of the teams that play that way, it's what keeps them from being consistently contenders up there at the top. I don't know, but I wouldn't anticipate that, just because every team pretty much lines it up that way. But 457-9464, the Reds are projected according, again, we're on Twitter to the Baseball Prospectus, again, 79-83 is what they're projected to be. The NL West, the Dodgers are the only team between the American League and the National League, Kev, this win-loss projection. Dodgers are the only team projected to win more than 100 games this year.
They better, all that money they spent.
And you have, the Padres, 96 wins. And
Padres, man, watch out, dog. Them bats. Them boys can swing. Them and the Braves, man. A lot of high power offenses out in the West, man.
Vincent Waller says the Reds offense is too inconsistent for me to believe they can actually contend. Haven't really improved the roster, and the pitching staff has gotten worse. The only plus is the whole division seems average. Think the Cardinals win the division at the end. And, with that, the Cardinals projected to finish 3rd in this division. The love affair that the media has had with the Cubs over the last decade has really, they lost Yu Darvish. They lost a lot.
Get them out of here.
They lost a lot, a lot. And yet they're still projected to be an 85-win team. They're getting better. How are they better than a year ago? That doesn't make any damn sense. Again, no one won 80 games last year. No one played 80 games last year, at least regular season. But there you go. Jason Pruitt says 4th place because this team cannot hit, talking about the Reds. Philip Reed on Facebook says that Trevor Bauer is a big loss, but excited for them going into last year, but then they hit 212 as a team. And that was a disappointment. Keep in mind, so Philip, I'm going to use you as an example. You said, you were excited about it last year, but they hit 212 as a team. But why were you disappointed? Because they didn't hit the way they were supposed to.
Right.
I don't anticipate them hitting 212 as a team again. And I made this point earlier. Suarez had a down year. Moustakas had a down year. Castellanos had a down year. And my point about bringing all that up is the fact that when I look at this team right now, unless you truly believe that all those guys are just done and that they'll never get better, I have nothing but excitement heading into this season, because I just don't see them having 2 bad seasons back to back. I think all those guys return to form. We're returning to some kind of normalcy, a regular 160-plus game schedule. There's going to be some fans in the stands. It's a full – we're starting on time. There's going to be no, pause. As of right now, right? Mm-hmm. A year ago at this time, we actually thought everything was fine, right? So no, I know what you guys are all saying, but keep in mind, they weren't a good hitting team last year, but they underachieved, they underperformed. Unless you're anticipating them underperforming again. So basically, Philip and Jason and Vincent on Facebook and some of you guys others, are you saying that you do not have confidence that they'll return to form? Are you guys saying that basically your hesitancy to buy into this team, guys, is that, I think that's who they're going to be again this year? Do you have any faith at all that they turn it around? Because the Reds last year were more so supposed to win because of the lineup than the pitching, because there was question marks in the last 2 in the rotation. The bullpen, there were some question marks. The bullpen was not good to start. I expect more out of the lineup more than anything else, big picture.
So they said 79 games for the Reds. What are you saying?
I'm not ready to. I'm not ready because
I'm messing with you.
No.
I'm messing with you.
Well, for Cleveland, it's not like they're going to be adding any pieces. That's why I said 75 wins is a good season for them, if you ask me. For the Reds right now, I'm definitely taking the over. I'm definitely taking the over on the 79 projected wins. In fact, taking a look at those right now on Facebook, the Brewers, an 89 win team. I'm taking the under for the Brewers.
Seems a bit high.
The Cubs, 85 and 77. I'm taking the under for that, but not by much. I could see them being an 81 to 83 win team, but 85. I mean, again, you're talking about a 2-game difference, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, I'd say about 80 wins for the Cubs. I just don't find. I see them right about 500. I think they have enough weapons to win some games, but the pitching is not what it was. I'm saying. I'm taking under. They have the Cubs winning 85. I'm going to take the under. The Cardinals at 81 and 81. I'll take the over. I think they can win about 85 games. The Cincinnati Reds, 79 and 83. I'm definitely taking the over. They're going to win more than 80. How much more than 80, we don't know. That's all going to be dependent on the pitching. But you know what you get with Luis Castillo. Sonny Gray's been great since we're being traded from the Yankees and becoming a Red. Wade Miley's going to be healthy this year. Not expecting a Cy Young outing from him. Well, we shall. I have more confidence in this Reds team than most, put it that way. Jason Pruitt on Facebook. I think they will turn it around hitting wise. I'm glad they got rid of the choke artist closer and being Raisel Iglesias. What are your guys' thoughts when you guys hear people talk about David Bell going with a closer by committee? We're so used to knowing who the closer is.
Right.
Mariano Rivera, you knew, oh man, if we could just get it to this point of the game, he's going to come in and close this out. When John Smoltz was a closer for the Braves, I grew up watching the Braves. I just knew, get it to late in the game, and Smoltz, you're as good as you're golden. You're good, right? Like, there is a comfort zone in that. And I thought that the Reds thought they had that with Iglesias, but they used him in very weird situations last year. They don't have a set closer. I mean, they did just trade for the guy with the Nationals just a few weeks ago, but are they going to use him in that role exclusively? I've heard they're going to use Amir Garrett in some of those situations. How do fans feel about the closer by committee mentality when it comes to David Bell? Vincent says, I think that the offense will be better, but not enough to make up for the pitching dip that I anticipate. And then Ryan Strauss says, I think 85 wins the division, whoever it is. Oh, I think 85 wins the division. So there's that. Are we good with our baseball talk for the day? Did we get it all off our chest?
I don't know.
I'm going to be more eager to keep an eye on what the Reds do moving forward. But again, projected to be a 79-win team. This team's better than that.
I do have a question. How much of these predictions are based off of like last year? Like so much of it was such a short season last year. It was just you started and it seemed like it finished just like that. So I just worry about people putting so much onus on what happened last year. Like, I do believe that you should put more onus on what people have done through the length of their career as opposed to one truncated season. So like, and even for the guys that did play well last season, it was a short season. So for most guys, when you play the full 162, you are what you've been throughout your whole career. So like that's why I worry about the guys that did excelled last year, and I worry about the guys that struggled last year because they didn't get a chance to play their whole 162 and see how they were due for a regular season. So that's why I'm just like, when I see these predictions about people's teams' records this year, I just get a little confused. Like, are we just basing it off what they did last year, or are we going to be saying, all right, that was a blip on the radar with COVID and everything like that. Let's look at what they did for the length of their career.
No, and I get that. And I don't think it's just simply, how they looked last year. I think last year plays a heavy role in it, though.
Because I think that's why the Reds record, prediction record is at 79, because they're looking at, like, man, that playoff thing, that was bad, but they didn't score a run, right?
No,
two playoff games, right?
No, I think they scored one, and that was maybe a little more. I can't remember what the second playoff game was, but no, I don't think it's exclusively off last season. I think that plays a role in it, but I think overall we know who these guys are. But I think there's a ton of question marks of who the Reds pitchers are. I mean, there's talks of Michael Lorenzen moving to the rotation. So if if today's opening day, you're going to probably have Luis Castillo pitching on opening day against the Cardinals. Game 2, you're going to have you're going to have Sonny Gray for sure. You know it's Luis Castillo Castillo and Sonny Gray in any particular order. I prefer Castillo first, Sonny Gray second. Your third overall pitcher, is it going to be Tyler Mahle? Are you going to go with the lefty and Wade Miley? Obviously it's going to be, lineup dependent on who you're going up, matchup based. And then it's Tyler Mahle. So again, Luis Castillo, Sonny Gray. We're talking about probably Wade Miley, Tyler Mahle, and probably Michael Lorenzen, and I'm not a fan of that. I think that's a lazy approach, too, to head into that, to say, well, we'll see. He was a starter at one point, and it didn't work out. And he was shaky as a reliever last year, and he ended up being, getting hot later towards the end of the season. But we're talking about a 60-game season. I haven't seen enough of Lorenzen to think that, the guy who has been pitching 1 to 2 innings for the last however many years is all of a sudden supposed to just stretch it out and give you 6 to 7. Oh, not in David Bell's world. I'm sorry. He'll probably still start for the same damn 2 innings that David. Oh man, I'm already starting to think about what David Bell's going to do to ruin all this. Now I get why there's 79 wins is the projection. Here's a good question too. Strauss says, "Will this be Bell's last year if they miss the playoffs?" It better be. The Reds didn't spend all this money. That's the other thing too. To go back to some of the commenters' points on this, Kev. Why didn't they just trade all these guys away? You guys the Reds kept this roster intact just to win 79 games. Like, now I could see the frustration of the fans at Tad of, well, why not just go that extra step? Maybe they should have just blown it up. Because why overpay guys? Not that they've really overpaid anyone outside of Votto, but he earned that contract way back when. But he's still making $25 million this year. And he's going to probably hit $230, and then it's going to make it even harder to swallow. But why pay all these guys this amount of money to not contend? If you kept these guys in place, it's because, hey, I feel, but maybe it's like me. I feel they're still good enough to potentially win this division. We'll step away for a few moments. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on the other side of the break. If you're just tuning in, we're giving away a free dozen roses. We have a couple dozen roses we're giving away to multiple winners today. 5:30, we're going to be reaching out to the winners. The Flower Man in Centerville. Love the guy. He does an awesome job. I appreciate everything he does for us as well. He's providing us with more flowers this week to give away. And we're doing that coming up at 5:30. But you have to like the Justin Kinner Show page. Head to Facebook, find the Justin Kinner Show page on there, like it, follow along, and you'll also be able to watch the show daily from 3 to 6 as well. We'll be back in a moment.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Attention Class A CDL drivers. Looking to be more than just a number? Yoel Transportation in Dayton is looking for drivers with at least 1.5 years experience. Yoel has open positions for no-tarp flatbed drivers and no-touch regional or local van drivers. Yoel is ELD compliant and offers 401k with match, medical, dental, vision, holiday pay, vacation, safety bonuses, and now has a rider policy. Call Rick or Joe at 937-294-5933 and ask about the $5,000 sign-on bonus today.
Why would I quit my 9-to-5 to start a 9 to who knows when gaming company? Or eat pizza for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Oh, I gotta get that. How could my favorite tech be an app that helps run my business? No offense, smartphone. None taken. Or fill my garage with enough servers to power a small country? It's because I wanted to make it big in gaming. And QuickBooks suite of tools help me get there.
Intuit QuickBooks helps small businesses be more successful. Learn more at QuickBooks.com.
Beachcombing, baking cookies, learning French. Aren't these what you'd rather be doing than thinking about your Medicare prescriptions? Well, Walgreens is here to help you get back to it with convenient refill and pickup options, expert pharmacists to answer all your questions, and Medicare copays as low as $0. Zero. Which is also the number of cares in the world you'll have as you stroll the beach, eating cookies and speaking French. Oh la la. Walgreens.
$0 copays apply to Tier 1 generic drugs and select plans where Walgreens is a preferred pharmacy.
Hey, Matthew, we need to restock those sleeping bags.
Indeed knows unexpected growth can stretch your business thin.
One of you cover this register?
Like at Anita's outdoor store.
Sorry,
to keep sales climbing, she needs to get started hiring right away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. And the moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post. Terms and conditions apply.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, with 24/7 support and experienced staff at over 250 local branches. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
These days, it's okay to do some things halfway, like wearing your pajama bottoms on a work call. But managing your prescriptions shouldn't be one of them. That's why CVS has a proprietary search tool to find ways that may help lower your prescription costs, and will deliver them for free. No wonder CVS customers are better than most at staying on prescriptions, which tends to make you healthier. Come in or call today and get a free prescription savings review at CVS. Savings vary. Not all patients eligible for savings. Delivery restrictions apply. Visit CVS.com for details.
D-Max, home of the award-winning Duramax diesel engine, is hiring for production. They're holding a job fair at Golden Gate Park in Brookville, Ohio on February 12th from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Go to dmaxengines.com to download and complete the application, or bring your resume with you.
Discover matches all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year. Automatically. Discover, something brighter. Learn more at discover.com/match.
You want more local content from Dayton's ESPN radio station 1410 Wing AM? Make sure you subscribe to the WING 1410 Dayton YouTube channel, where you can watch all your local shows live, or go back and rewatch previous episodes of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, the Keith Byers Show, Talking Out Loud with Sully, and more. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, everybody, we welcome you back. Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Look, I don't compliment the Cincinnati Bengals too often, but I got to give their social media team a little bit of a shout out. So yesterday, I don't think this was done on accident. Everyone started freaking out. So the Bengals social media team posted a picture of just Paul Brown Stadium, of just the field, just the field covered in snow. And they go on to say, hey, we're ready for September. Is it September yet? And it was a cryptic little post, because in the background, you started noticing like Anthony Munoz's name, but it looked like as if they had started to put up a Hall of Honor, a Ring of Honor, right? Mm-hmm. And sure enough, it leads to speculation. People are retweeting it, commenting on it, and then the Bengals take it down. Well, then today, they post the same picture of the snow-covered field, except when you zoom in, now those names are no longer listed around the stadium. So I think it was done purposely. I think that they're going to be dropping that finally coming up here in the coming times. But I love when social media is put to good use. Now social media teams, and we're going to social media teams are usually, college interns, right? Like they're not. Do you really think these college interns are sitting in the front office meetings with team owners and with general managers and have any insight as to what the team is planning on doing? I don't think they are. I bring that up because I found that move to be fascinating. I even applauded the Bengals, social media team today. I thought that was pretty cool. But another social media story that I think is being completely overblown. And I know that when the Super Bowl ends, content becomes a little thin on a lot of these national network shows. So I started noticing, I'm like, my goodness, the First Take and Get Up and these others, they are really stretching this stupid hype video that the Dallas Cowboys posted on their social media team that had a ton of current and past players in their little hype video that's like 60 seconds long. And there's no mention or even any, there's no Dak Prescott whatsoever. Mm-hmm. People lost their mind. And everyone's like, how disrespectful. I'm like, if Dak Prescott, the Dallas Cowboys social media team, hurts his feelings, then he's softer than I thought. It's social media. It is Facebook. It is nothing. You are a football player. And you're going to let, they didn't put me in a 60-second video upset you. And then his brother, who just continues to spout off every time he gets the chance. I didn't see his brother making a peep whenever the Cowboys were shut out against the Eagles 2 years ago when they needed to win to get in the playoffs. I didn't see him making a peep about any of that. But the Cowboys are wrong for this. So, okay, is it a good look? No, it's not. It was stupid not to have a minute, but to sit there and draw it out to this point to say that, the Cowboys owe him an apology. What in the blue hell are you talking about? The Cowboys owe him an apology because a hype video didn't have a minute. Man, I don't know what to say about that. I know me and you totally disagree on this, but most social media teams are made up of college interns. They're not sitting in the front office meetings. They're not like, oh man, based on what we learned in our owners meeting today, I'm going to make a hype video. Well, I'm Nick, the social media intern. What did Jerry Jones say today? Oh, Jerry Jones said we're not signing Dak Prescott, so let's take him out of the social media video, okay? Patrick, we good? We all good? We got this? And then, they post it, and then that's that. It was stupid. I don't know how you don't have Dak Prescott in there, but I promise you, this wasn't something it wasn't a collaborative effort between the front office and their social media team.
Like we were talking about off the air, man, do you think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to release a hype video without Tom Brady? Do you think
Tom Brady's good?
Do you think that the Arizona Cardinals are going to release a hype video without Kyler Murray? Do you think that the Ohio State Buckeyes are going to release a hype video without their starting quarterback? Like these
Who
things.
Is your starting quarterback?
Touche. But it just goes back to the simple fact of no. Is Jerry Jones in the editing bay with these interns? No. But just like you said, it has current and former great players. So if these guys are just college interns that don't know any better, they're just putting together a highlight tape, which is they have to have some type of input from somebody in their media department. They report to somebody. And I think it was a calculated situation not to have Dak Prescott in the hype video. It is a total blunder. It is totally disrespectful to Dak Prescott.
How? What has he done for them? What? What has he won them? Well, I'm dead serious. If I'm being 1,000,000% serious.
So in that case, then what has Ezekiel Elliott done for them?
Nothing. But he's an overpaid running back. Okay, but he's a part of the roster moving forward. He signed his contract. He accepted what the Cowboys offered him. Dak Prescott thinking he's Russell Wilson and Patrick Mahomes over here asking for the money they have, and yet he hasn't done a damn thing. He has done nothing to even come close to asking for the money that those guys have asked for. So whole thing, everyone's blaming Jerry Jones for why this contract is not done. It is him. The Cowboys have offered him money that's been north of $30 million, and he wants Russell Wilson money. Russell Wilson.
So are we talking about the contract or are we talking about the hype video?
I think it goes hand in hand.
Okay. I think the contract thing is going to work itself out eventually. The hype video thing, I think, yes, it's silly, but that's where we are today. And especially in today's media, everything is dissected. And I mean, it is blatant that he's not in there. It is. I mean, it's plain and simple that it's blatant that he's not in there. And no, I don't think that Jerry Jones is in the editing bay saying, no, take that clip out. But they did have to turn in a finished product to a boss at the Dallas Cowboys, and somebody had to approve it. And for whomever that person is, it's their fault for approving this and getting this out to the masses. And I know some people say all press is good press. This isn't good press. This isn't how you want your organization to perceive in the media and by your fan base or by your potential starting quarterback. This isn't a good thing. This is stupid.
Well, I don't think it's stupid because I don't think it means anything. I don't think, your starting quarterback, who knows if Dak is the starting quarterback moving forward, and he may not be. And look, as far as I'm concerned, this whole, it's disrespectful. Look, man, grow up, not you, him. If this bothers you, grow up. I just don't get it, man. I don't get why these athletes. I try to defend these current day athletes as much as I can.
Win.
But the fact. What do you mean when?
Win.
Constantly, we got into the argument. That's how the last big argument you and I got in on the air was because you were trying to say that today's athletes couldn't play back in the 90s.
I never said that.
Yeah,
I never said that.
Pull the tape.
I never said that.
Pull the tape.
I never said that. We can pull the tape. I've never said that ever.
I saw your tweet the other day that, being physical isn't a skill. If you need someone to knock someone down, I can go in. That ain't a skill.
It is. Ask LeBron.
It's not a skill set. Knocking someone down is not a skill set. That's just called.
He knocked Steph on his ass, and Steph stopped hitting shots. That's a skill.
I can go to Kroger and start hip checking old ladies into the, to each side of the aisle. That ain't a skill set. That
is a skill. It is a skill.
Running your body into somebody is not a skill.
It is a skill.
It's not.
It helped them win the championship.
That's not a skill. That's just called being physical.
If they didn't do that, they wouldn't have won the championship.
You wouldn't.
If the Cavs didn't turn roughhouse, they wouldn't have won that championship.
And by the way, roughhouse. Okay, they played physical, but not like you trying to act as if they played like they did in the 90s, where they were just hip checking everything.
They were.
No, not to the level of what
they got physical.
Look, I know you watched a couple highlight clips, and you.
No. I lived during it. I lived it. I lived it and watched it.
You were alive in 2016. You weren't born in 2017.
I also lived in watching in the 90s.
Okay, and nothing of what we saw in the 90s is what you saw.
They got physical with the Golden State Warriors,
and that would
they got physical with them, and Steph got shook.
And not only says I've been concussed. He goes, I think Justin slipped on some ice today and got concussed. Maybe. I did slip yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah,
at work,
carrying the ball. Yeah,
I get paid.
But I'm tough and physical, so it's okay. Hour 3 next. Kev's wrong.
Kev's never wrong.
Kev's always wrong.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hey, my name's James, and a little thing I love about Chick-fil-A's Grilled Spicy Deluxe is the first bite, you get a little kick of spice, and then that cilantro and lime sauce that kind of balances things out. Just delicious.
Hey, I'm Amber. A little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A new Grilled Spicy Deluxe is how well all of the ingredients complement each other. It's so good. I like bob my head side to side, dancing while I eat.
Chick-fil-A's Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich, available for a limited time only. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Why would I quit my 9 to 5 to start a 9 to who knows when gaming company? Or eat pizza for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Oh, I gotta get that. How could my favorite tech be an app that helps run my business? No offense, smartphone. None taken. Or fill my garage with enough servers to power a small country? It's because I wanted to make it big in gaming. And QuickBooks suite of tools helped me get there.
Intuit QuickBooks helps small businesses be more successful. Learn more at QuickBooks.com.
I'm Terry Krupp of Laird's Tax and Accounting, serving this area's tax and accounting needs for over 80 years. If you have concerns about your tax return, we invite you to discover how we can make your tax filing experience easier. If you had a difficult experience in the past, our professional staff can provide the accurate return you want with maximum use of all legitimate deductions. Laird's Tax and Accounting is a trusted name and stands behind your return if the IRS calls. Contact us at 937-325-6571. Information at lairdstax.com.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
D-Max, home of the award-winning Duramax diesel engine, is hiring for production. They're holding a job fair at Golden Gate Park in Brookville, Ohio on February 12th from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Go to dmaxengines.com to download and complete the application or bring your resume with you.
Listen to this radio station on the radio.com app. Discover and enjoy your favorite music, news, and talk radio from live stations across the country. Listen anywhere on all mobile and home devices with the radio.com app.
Staples has everything you need to start the year right, like home office furniture, the latest tech, and organizational supplies, and all at amazing prices. Get a fresh start this year with big savings from Staples.
There are many ways to catch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can catch it live right here on 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the show at wingam.com. But now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzz driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You can kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says, "I'm a catch," more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER and ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle. We are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
And into the end zone goes Chris Olave. KJ Hill, 6-yard touchdown catch. Right sideline and down he goes to the end zone.
WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio. It's the Justin Kinner Show, live here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM. Tweet the show at 1410 Kinner or give us a call at 457-9464. We now send you to the Wing Studios in Kettering. Here's your host, Justin Kinner.
All right, and we are back. Hour number 3 is the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Keith Tolliver says, Justin sounds like a UD fan on why they don't play Wright State with his takes today. I don't even know what. I mean, that's a weird tie-in. You know, I mean, I know I try to tie that in every time I can, but I don't even understand that one. Are you saying I sound? I feel like I sound really intelligent today. I mean, I think I'm on my A game today. I've brought a lot of great points to the table. Kev's over there just trying to catch up. I mean, it's just another day at the office here. I'm just saying. Speaking of the Dayton Flyers, this Saturday's Dayton St. Joseph's men's basketball game was originally postponed, and they will not replace St. Joseph's with an opponent on Saturday. So the Flyers are off until the 16th, so until next Tuesday. So that's, quite a gap off. I mean, they play, so basically just a week off, I guess. They play Tuesday. They won't play again until next Tuesday. And then after that, Kev. I mean, they only have 3 more games after that. I mean, this week for Wright State, it's their next week is their last week of the regular season as well. So we're wrapping up regular season playing college basketball. It's pretty dang cool.
Yeah, man. There's so many other games out there that have been canceled or postponed. And I know like a lot of like in the ACC and in the Big Ten, they're trying to figure out if they're going to do makeup games or are they just going to chalk it and go straight to the conference tournament and everything like that and base it off win percentage, man. So it'd be interesting to see how those teams play in their conference championship tournaments without the buffer of so many games, you know, like those. I know Boston College, I think they've only played like 8 conference games where, you know, other teams are up into the 14, 15 games played. So it's a strange year.
No, it definitely is. And, you know, big picture. And by the way, he said I'm being like UD fans because he says I'm being whiny.
Oh,
I'm not being whiny. You're being whiny. No, but, you know, when you look at the big picture of college basketball this season, look, I know there's just like college football, there's a lot of teams you could look at and say, oh man, look, COVID really impacted their season. But overall, the fact that we're winding down the regular season and that we're getting closer to March and that the NCAA tournament is scheduled to go on as what we would like to call normal, even though it's all going to be in, you know what I thought about though? You know, how different. I haven't seen the NCAA tournament schedules were just released, I think yesterday or 2 days ago or whenever it was. And I'm curious how they're doing this because a lot of times there's so many games being played at one time, Kev, but they're on East and West Coast time. Right. So how are they balancing that out? I mean, there's going to be a lot of overlapping games being played, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, has to be. I mean,
which is cool because, like I said, I have plenty of TVs. I mean, you know, we'll make it work.
You have YouTube TV.
YouTube
right?
TV.
So you're going to be able to get all the games, right?
Yep. Can't get the Reds right now, though. That's ticking me off. They better hurry up and get on there. Just like HIO with the Super Bowl. All of a sudden, magically that morning, they got it all figured out. You know, as far as YouTube TV is concerned, they need to figure it out with the Fox Sports regional networks. They need to get that done. But anyways, what were you saying?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think, like, how are they going to do that? And more importantly, everything's going to be in Indianapolis, right? For March Madness, right?
Everything's in Indianapolis. It's just going to be spread out through multiple venues.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Are they about to be playing at high school gyms? Where are they going to be playing all these games at?
So on the West Coast, you would never have noon tip-offs for West Coast games because that would be basically 9 a.m. over there.
Right.
So they would do 3 p.m. tip-offs Eastern time, which would be noon their time. So, right. I mean, that having it spread out between East and West Coast, it allowed you to spread those games out. Now everything is going to be, you have to schedule all those games, 30 plus games in the first 2 days off, East Coast times.
Right.
And I think there's going to definitely be overlap. Now they have the times out. I need to pull those up and I'll take a look at that and find out. But nonetheless, real quick, your upcoming schedule, the Dayton Flyers will wrap up. They'll be at Rhode Island on Tuesday. This coming up Tuesday, they'll have St. Louis again, St. Bonaventure, VCU. Actually, no, that VCU game, I'm not sure. So St. Bonaventure too. So they got a tough stretch coming up with Rhode Island, St. Louis, and St. Bonaventure coming up around the corner.
Do you think teams are going to opt out of their conference tournaments? Because, I'm looking at St. Joe's, they're 0-9 in the conference. I'm looking at Fordham, they're 2-10 in conference play. Like, will these teams just say, all right, we finished out the regular season, we'll see you guys next season?
I don't think they'll opt out of the conference tournament, but I don't think there's going to be too many teams knocking on the door of the CBI. And I saw someone said, breaking news, CBI working on a neutral site bubble type sit, and someone put, who cares? Like, I think honestly, you're going to see I think you're going to see quite a few. I don't know how many teams you'll see opt out of a conference tournament. I think that's their one last hope.
Right.
That's their one last shot at potentially getting there, right? Like, the chances are slim, but let's be real. I don't think you're going to see too many teams opt out heading into that situation. But talked about UD's final stretch, Wright State. They have Milwaukee this coming up weekend starting tomorrow, back-to-back Friday, Saturday, and then they'll be at Northern Kentucky for next weekend, and then that's that. But
so the Horizon League, they do these back-to-backs. How do you think has affected Wright State? I think it has played into their favor more than any other team out there, because we talked about this all the time, how they have those buzzer beater losses on Fridays, and then on Saturday when they play them right back, they blow them out. I think Wright State has favored the most out of anybody by that situation, because you look at all the other conferences, they're trying to do things in a normal situation. Like, all right, they're going to play on a Wednesday and a Saturday, or a Tuesday and a Friday or something like that. So they're trying to keep a normal schedule. But in the Horizon League, where they're doing this like Friday, Saturday, or Tuesday, Wednesday situation, I think it's really benefiting the Horizon League because they got a ton of teams with a ton of games played, and it's benefiting Wright State because they like get that right back at you type of attitude. Like they get to avenge that loss right away as opposed to waiting a couple weeks and everything like that. I was curious how you felt about that.
I don't know if it helps or hurts. The problem, normally I would say it would hurt them if their losses were coming on day 2, but their losses came on those game 1s. Like they should not have lost to those either buzzer beaters. Like, you know, that's what the frustrating thing is. I talked with Joe Lenardi a few weeks ago, and we were joking around talking about UD and then talking about Wright State. And he goes, look, he's not comparing Wright State to Drake by any means because Wright State's strength of schedule is so bad. But he goes, honestly, with the way that they're blowing everyone out by 30, if they would have beaten Cleveland State and who they lose to that week before, they had the back-to-back week, Youngstown
State.
They win both of those, they're getting at least votes. They're at least getting talked about.
Others receiving votes.
But he said once they lost those 2 games, he goes, they were out of it. But then they turn around and beat both by 30. But whatever, you can't do anything about that. It comes down to a 1-week stretch in March every time.
Right.
So right now it's just about making sure you're playing your best basketball, and that's all that matters. For UD, everyone that's counting them out, and Sully's going to join us coming up at 5:30. He's cracking me up right now. I mean, the sky is falling. The world is ending. I mean, he is living in a dark and gloomy place right now.
No, it's a throwaway year.
It's, but not for him. I mean,
not for him.
The thing is, this team, when you have a player like Jalen Crutcher, when you get to those one and done type situations, win or go home situations, having a player like Jalen Crutcher is huge. And the problem is, historically, the Flyers can't win their damn conference tournament. Mm-hmm. They just don't win it. They would have probably won it last year, and they wouldn't have needed to win it last year. But ultimately, for the third time in the last 4 years, the Flyers are counting on having to win their conference tournament to go dancing in March. And, last year would have been the first conference. It would have been the first NCAA tournament appearance for Anthony Grant since being there. My big thing is after the season wraps up, comparing the first 4 years of Archie Miller to the first 4 years of Anthony Grant, which one would you deem more successful? I don't think it's any doubt in my mind that it was Archie Miller's. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, as great as last year was and as awesome as last year was, like Archie Miller's first 4 years, totally. Well, I mean, to me, we're better. I mean, you had more NCAA tournament appearances. You had the Elite 8 run. You had the Sweet 16 run. Like, you had all of that within the first 4 years. You won 20 games. Archie never had a season under 500. But Archie never had a regular season like what Anthony Grant had last year. So it's so different. So both coaches have been a part of 2 of the most memorable seasons in the history of the Dayton Flyers program. You have Archie Miller's Elite 8 run season, and then you have Anthony Grant's regular season success, number 3 team in the country. Unfortunately, we didn't see how that story was going to unfold in the tournament.
Right.
But right now, this season for the Flyers, this is who they've been since Anthony Grant's gotten here. They're just good. They're solid. They have good players. They win games. They lose games, but they're not a juggernaut. But last year was such a larger than life moment for that program that it's like, how much did that make up for this season and the first couple of seasons? Hell, even 2 years ago, they were a 20-plus win team. They went to the NIT, lost to Colorado. But it's just one of those where when you compare the first 4 years of Anthony Grant to the first 4 years of Archie Miller, I think Archie Miller's first 4 years totally knock Anthony Grant's out of the water. I'm curious, Flyers fans, let's try this. Let's have a civil conversation. 457-9464. The first 4 years of Archie Miller versus the first 4 years of Anthony Grant. Who's been more impressive in the first 4 years? Both are winning close to the same amount of games a little bit. I mean, Archie never had a season below 500. Anthony Grant had a very bad roster that he took over in the first year. But I mean, had a very good year, too. We know what happened last year, this year taking a step back and all that. But, I mean, they're not bad this year. That's the thing. Everyone's talking about this team as if they're just horrible. They're not horrible. They're okay. They're solid. But I think that a lot of fans were expecting them to be a lot better than just okay and solid. And I don't care what the circumstances are. You have Jalen Crutcher. You have a lot of talent on this. Ibby Watson. You have a lot of talent. Like, this team should be better than what they are, in my opinion.
I really like Coach AG. Was never really a big Archie guy, but I will say Archie's run was better. And it's simply based upon the fact that in college basketball, it really doesn't matter what you do in the regular season. The only thing that matters is the tournament. And that's unfortunate. So Archie having runs into the NCAA tournament will always trump everything that you do in the regular season, no matter how great last year was. And I feel real bad for Coach AG and especially the players and the fan base because COVID ruined everything. You weren't able to roll the dice and see where you're going to be in the NCAA tournament, especially in that year. You got the player of the year going up against whomever. I liked UD's chances last year. I really did. And, you know, we always do the pools here at work for the tournament and everything like that. And every year, everybody always picks UD to make a deep run in the tournament. And that's why people that don't pick UD always end up winning our bracket here at the station because we see it a different way. But last year, everybody, including myself, was going to have UD in the Final Four, because they were that good. And like I just said before, man, I feel terrible for the players because they were the ones putting their blood, sweat, and tears out there. Obviously, I feel terrible for Coach AG and the fan base because COVID just robbed them. Not only robbed them of, you know, the Atlantic 10 tournament because, you know, they haven't been able to win that. They were probably going to win that. And then they were going to roll the dice in the March Madness, the big tournament. And that's what everybody was waiting for. Like the whole season was the wait to the big dance because like, oh man, we're good. We got a chance. Yeah, we could lose a game or two during the regular season, but we can really make noise in the conference tournament as well as the big NCAA tournament. And they were robbed of that. So I would go with Archie because he actually had the chance to do it and they made the most of their opportunity.
Yeah, year one for Archie Miller, the Flyers went 20-13. Year two, 17-14. Not a good year, but again, above 500. He never had a season below 500 with the Flyers. 26-11 year three, 27-9 year four. But you talked about the NCAA tournament in years 3 and 4, and you know, and last year, they were for sure an NCAA tournament team. They were going to be a number 1 seed, but the tournament didn't happen. How is that being viewed, by the way? I've asked, you know, I'm curious how certain teams are handling this. For teams like UD doesn't put up those banners or anything, but I'm curious, do teams who do put up banners that were NCAA tournament teams last year put those up? Are coaches, does Anthony Grant get the NCAA tournament bonus in his contract?
You know his agent.
Coaches get money for postseason appearances, whether it's NIT or NCAA tournament. I think NCAA tournament you get more, and it's by coach basis. So Wright State last year, they got the NIT bid, an auto NIT bid. So what does Nagy get paid for that? Does he get that NIT bonus, a postseason bonus? I'm just curious how teams are basically viewing last season in regards to that. Like, is there always going to be an asterisk in the record books? Like, how does that work? Because remember yesterday we were talking college basketball. I said, oh yeah, last year's Final Four teams. I'm like, wait a minute, those weren't last year's. I'm like, oh, they were 2 years ago because we didn't have Final Four teams last year.
Think about it like this: Virginia, if they win it all this year, are they back-to-back champs?
That's a good question. That's a good question. Ron knows college basketball. Look at him. He's really, you know, evolving. He says tournament's going to suck this year. No blue bloods. No blue bloods. All right, we're going to step away for a few moments. We're going to get the phones filled up, and then we're going to go from there. We're going to have Sully calling in at 5:30. Flyers fans, I'm just curious. The first 4 years of Anthony Grant versus the first 4 years of Archie Miller. We're coming off one of the most memorable seasons of all time in Dayton Flyers history. And when you compare the most memorable season of AG's run at UD compared to the most memorable season of Archie's, it was the Elite Eight run for Archie. And it was last season the number 3 team in the country for AG. Unfortunately, he didn't get to cap it off with the tournament run. But which coach has been more impressive in their first 4 years? Anthony Grant's currently in year number 4. We saw Archie Miller here for longer than that. But through the first 4 years of Archie Miller's career, he had 2 NCAA tournaments, including the Elite Eight and 316 run. So that's why I'm just curious people's thoughts as far as that goes. So I'm curious. 4, 5, and plus, Archie Miller had 2 top 25 seasons where they cracked the top 25. They were as high as number 25 in the Elite Eight season, and then number 22 the following season after that. But the first 4 years of Archie Miller versus the first 4 years of Anthony Grant, which was more impressive? Was last year's regular season run more impressive than the Elite Eight run for Archie Miller's Flyers? That's going to be the tipping point in how people view who has had the more successful 4-year start for the Flyers. We'll be back in a moment.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be mostly cloudy, a high near 25. Tonight's also going to be mostly cloudy but windy, a low around 15. And tomorrow will be mostly cloudy, a high near 28. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane. 98% of their customers recommend Cullet. If you wouldn't recommend your current supplier, check them out at culletpropane.com.
Does it feel like finding clothes in your fit is impossible? Tired of feeling overwhelmed with options that just aren't right? Let the experts at Stitch Fix do the shopping for you. At Stitch Fix, we make sure each piece is hand-selected for your life. So whether you're staying home or on the go, Stitch Fix has the answer for what to wear. We make it easy to find what works for you. Signing up takes just a few minutes, and styles are delivered directly to your door. Get started today at StitchFix.com. Stitch Fix, your style delivered.
Have you ever thought about having a podiatric physician examine your feet? Doctors of Podiatric Medicine set broken bones, perform wound care, and remove bunions. Common health issues that they treat include ingrown or fungal nails, corns, warts, and skin problems like athlete's foot. Foot exams are easy and can prevent many foot problems. If you can't walk, work, or enjoy sports activities without pain, what are you waiting for? To find a podiatric physician who is a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association, visit associationsadvanceohio.com.
Hi, this is Eddie Sorrell, Service Manager, Germain Honda of Beaver Creek. When you need service, we're here Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays from 6 to 8 and Saturdays from 7 to 5. We proudly offer a state-of-the-art facility with factory-trained technicians, clean waiting room, and service department. Loaner cars are available during service and free alignment checks with any service. Be sure to stop in and ask for our $39.95 oil change special. Germain Honda of Beaver Creek, State Route 35, east of 675, between Xenia and Beaver Creek.
When's the last time you looked at your bathroom? Second thought, you might not want to make eye contact with that old faucet. It's time to head to Lowe's for some home improvement. Choose from stylish brands like American Standard, Delta, and Style Selections, and transform your before bathroom into an amazing after bathroom. Woohoo! You can't see her, but she's high-fiving herself. Don't just do it yourself. Do it for yourself. Stop by Lowe's or visit lowes.com/DIFY for vanities starting at $99. Valid through 3/31 U.S. only.
This President's Day at eBay, we want to prove like new is better than brand new. So we're not only giving up to 50% off certified refurbished, but we're adding an extra 20% off coupon too. Because while brand new is nice, it's also twice the price. And if you don't love our like new products, they all come with an industry-leading 2-year warranty. So this President's Day, say goodbye to brand new and find certified amazing deals at eBay, where good is new just got better.
Looking for a career and not just a job? Then Dayton Progress is looking for you. Dayton Progress is the leading international manufacturer of tools and tooling components for the metal stamping industries and has immediate openings for entry-level machinists. No prior experience is required, and Dayton Progress will train you, starting with the basics. They offer competitive wages with merit increases after 90 days of employment. They also offer private health care, including vision and dental, free life insurance, a contributory 401k, bonus programs, promotions from within, company service recognition, and 100% tuition reimbursement to local state colleges. Dayton Progress is a great place to work and has been a Dayton landmark for over 70 years. Apply today by emailing your resume to jobs@DaytonProgress.com. That's jobs@DaytonProgress.com. Dayton Progress is an equal opportunity employer.
If you're a first-time buyer, finding your first real home can feel like this.
Hot property. Not going to last long. Multiple offers. 30 or fixed. We need earnest money.
But a realtor has the expertise to strip away all the noise and focus on what really matters to you.
You're going to love this place. Great neighborhood. School is walkable. It even has a huge yard so Henry can practice his penalty kicks.
Finding the right place starts with you and a realtor with the expertise to make sure your voice is the only voice that matters. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
O'Reilly. Need new wiper blades? Not sure which ones to buy? The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts can help. We'll show you options for your specific car and even install them for free. Right now, save $10 per pair on Bosch Focus wiper blades, plus earn double O Rewards points. There's no better time to replace your wiper blades. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Have you wanted to speak a new language, but thought it would be too difficult? Then try Babbel. Babbel starts by teaching you words and phrases that gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations. So in 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking a new language in a few weeks. Babbel is built around real life. It teaches you practical conversations that you will actually use. Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free. Just text TRY to 64,000 to start learning a new language today. That's TRY to 64,000.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your car insurance with Right Track, which rewards you for safe driving.
As the world's most careful driver, that's perfect. Now applying 2 pounds of force for acceleration. You really turning in 0.3 miles and begin a deceleration.
With Liberty Mutual's Right Track, you could earn up to 30% savings based on how you drive. Sign up at libertymutual.com/righttrack.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Discount on participating vehicles, base coverages only. Availability varies.
Merrill Guided Investing. Visit merrilledge.com/investing goals. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner, and Smith Incorporated, both a registered broker-dealer and investment advisor. Member SIPC.
He's a former Buckeyes great and now a college football Hall of Famer. And don't forget about his 13 years of NFL experience playing for the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots. He's Dayton's own Keith Byers. Hang out with him every Monday at noon on the Keith Byers Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken.
O'Reilly.
Need new wiper blades? Not sure which ones to buy? The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts can help. We'll show you options for your specific car and even install them for free. Right now, save $10 per pair on Bosch Focus wiper blades, plus earn double O Rewards points. There's no better time to replace your wiper blades. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
D-Max, home of the award-winning Duramax diesel engine, is hiring for production. They're holding a job fair at Golden Gate Park in Brookville, Ohio on February 12th from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Go to dmaxengines.com to download and complete the application, or bring your resume with you.
Roosters would like to thank all of our loyal guests and all the loyal Buckeye fans for your support this year. Because of you, we've been able to stay open and keep our award-winning team employed. Our team members go above and beyond and are dedicated to providing you and your family the safest dining experience possible while still providing a fun, casual atmosphere to relax, laugh, and enjoy our award-winning food. Roosters, the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
The Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission is here to assist veterans during this COVID-19 pandemic. Even though we are not meeting face-to-face, we are here for you. We understand it is a difficult time with this virus threat and the strain of implementing social distancing. For those Montgomery County veterans who have lost their source of income due to their employers having to close or reduce their business hours due to the COVID-19 pandemic, you may be eligible for COVID-19 special financial relief assistance. Please contact the Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801 Monday through Friday for more information or to have an application sent to you. You can also visit mcvsc.org. The Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission is here to help Montgomery County veterans during the COVID-19 crisis. Call 937-225-4801 Monday through Friday or visit them online at mcvsc.org.
I'm Terry Krupp of Laird's Tax and Accounting. We are excited to announce we are open and here to help with your tax preparation needs. We offer multiple options, both convenient and safe. You can drop off your tax return, upload it to our secure website, or call for an appointment. We have 5 locations in the Miami Valley and 1 in Columbus to serve you. No matter the situation, we're confident we can do the job right. Visit lairdstax.com or call 937-325-6571. Laird's Tax and Accounting, here for you to ensure continued confidence in your tax return.
Menards is your one-stop shop for everything to make your hardwood floors beautiful. With the largest selection of Minwax stains, we have what you need for any staining project. Refinish your floors faster with Minwax Complete One-Step Floor Finish. It can be applied over existing polyurethane floor finish, meaning no sanding for you. It's available in 5 colors in a gloss or satin finish. Grab a gallon today for only $64.99. Price is good through February 13th.
Save big money at Menards.
The Flower Man here with the Valentine's Day tradition. A free vase and a dozen roses, only $12.99 at the Flower Man. This is not a dream. A dozen roses and a free vase, only $12.99. Thank you, Flower Man. I got myself excited. Go to flowermanflowers.com. That's flowermanflowers.com. It's a tradition.
Attention Class A CDL drivers. Looking to be more than just a number? Yoel Transportation in Dayton is looking for drivers with at least 1.5 years experience. Yoel has open positions for no-tarp flatbed drivers and no-touch regional or local van drivers. Yoel is ELD compliant and offers 401k with match, medical, dental, vision, holiday pay, vacation, safety bonuses, and now has a rider policy. Call Rick or Joe at 937-294-5933 and ask about the $5,000 sign-on bonus today.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/work. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/work. That's ZipRecruiter.com/work. ZipRecruiter.com/work.
You could continuously cough for hours on end, or you could take Delsym Cough. Delsym Cough gives you 12 cough relief hours. Visit Delsym, DELSYM.com. Use as directed.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kinner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
All right, and we are back. Justin Kinner with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. The Dayton Flyers were supposed to be in action on Saturday. That game postponed, ultimately just canceled. I don't think that game's going to be made up. And joining us now to talk all things Dayton Flyers hoops, we got Sully from Talking Out Loud. Sully, what's up, man? How are you?
Doing well, guys. I think this is like a necessary reprieve from Dayton Flyers season with this Saturday cancellation, wouldn't you say?
Here we go, the doom and gloom. End of the world. The world is ending. The sky is falling. Sully, come on. Isn't any basketball better than no basketball?
This year, I'm not so sure sometimes. I'm not a doom and gloom guy, but realistically, did the world need Dayton versus St. Joe's this weekend? Ask yourself. Did it really need Dayton versus St. Joe's?
No, they did not. From a.
That's what it is.
But don't you think fans want to still watch their team no matter what?
Absolutely, they do. But, you know, it's my job to outlay the reasons why they're not so watchable this year. And I've been doing that quite proficiently, as you know, because there's plenty to talk about when you describe Dayton's unwatchability and much less to talk about when you discuss their watchability. But, yeah, you're right. I mean, you know, it's the year of the fan for the Dayton Flyers right now. And, frankly, we kind of just need to just grit and bear the teeth for, a couple more weeks here. But, yeah, that section of the fan base is getting a little bit louder. They're like, oh, you know what, I just want my team to be playing. And that's mostly just gamblers, to be honest with you. You know what I mean?
You're talking to one.
It's mostly gamblers that are like, oh, you know, I just want to, watch my team play. It's like, I think you want to put a few bucks on it. But either way, you know, I was actually just kind of relieved that they canceled this game because St. Joe's the bottom dweller, and, of course, we've talked about it. You know, the rest of Dayton's regular season games don't mean a whole lot. So I was glad for them to just kind of hang that one up, and they can get back in action on Tuesday, get a nice weekend off, right?
Yeah, and that game, obviously, they say postponed. They ain't going to put that back on.
No, I mean, right now what I'm hearing from the A-10 conference is that they're starting to get a little bit more selective about the games that they're going to put back on the schedule. And we had an example actually this afternoon. The A-10 conference decided to schedule VCU against Richmond on March 6th. So the A-10 did a really nice thing. The end of the season was supposed to be on March 3rd, and they left themselves a whole week as a buffer zone until the A-10 tournament started. So now you're starting to see a lot of those games that are a little bit more important get filled back in. VCU is still at they still have a shot at an at-large. Richmond's still the same way. Both teams can play themselves in. So the A-10 obviously needed to get a little bit more intelligent about putting those types of games on the calendar, because ultimately those are going to decide how many A-10 or how many NCAA tournament bids that they get. So, I would not be surprised to see Dayton and VCU come off the calendar on March 3rd for the simple reason that there's probably going to be more important games to be played, and Dayton's already played VCU twice. So, running that back for a third time, I don't think would make a whole lot of sense either,
So when they moved VCU, so that was my next question, just because when I had their schedule pulled up, when they moved VCU up to this past Tuesday, they weren't taking that VCU matchup from later, the final game of the season or what have you, and moving that up. That was just a replacement game then.
Yeah, that's correct. It's basically just a replacement game, because neither school has announced that the third game is going to be postponed or canceled. I just think it's highly likely, given how the A-10 is shaking out, number one, and number two, how many teams need to get extra games in right now. The way that the conference is kind of laid out in the at-large bid is that, like I said before, Richmond can play their way in, as can VCU. Bonaventure's leading the conference, and then you got St. Louis. And that's pretty much it. I mean, those four teams are what we're looking at right now to get at larges. I think there is a way where all four end up in the dance with, one of them winning the tournament. I think that's a very slim chance. But I was really encouraged to see the A-10 start to make these dominoes fall, because we talked about it last week and the weeks before. The job of the conference office is to put their teams in the best position to get into the tournament. And as long as they're doing that with this schedule reshuffling, I really have no issue with it, nor should any other fan.
Solely with us and talking out loud. With that being said, heading into the conference tournament, look, even when the Dayton Flyers have one hell of a season, it's, I don't have a lot of faith that they're going to win their conference tournament, because history says that it's unlikely that happens, but that's their only option to go dancing in March. Your gut feeling on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that on their I guess, chance to win this thing, I guess?
Yeah, like a 2 out of 10, I guess, would be fair. To win the whole thing, yeah, I don't even know. That seems a little optimistic, just not giving you the 1. But, now, on the show this past week on the Rapid Reaction after the VCU loss on Tuesday night, I asked the guys, what is the version of the Dayton Flyers that runs the table and wins 4 games in a row? Because I wanted to hear their perspective, because frankly, no one really knows what that looks like, because Dayton hasn't won 4 games in a row all season. So when I ask that question, I'm kind of trying to see where people are at or how they think it's possible. I don't think there's really any scenario that plays out where Dayton wins 4 games in a row. They're basically relying on their starting 5 plus 2 guys off the bench at this point, and I just don't see how this lineup gets that done, especially given the caveats that we always talk about, where Crutcher and Watson have to have at least 30 to 35 points, and Crutcher's probably going to need 20 if Dayton's going to win. It's basically betting your money on, can Jalen Crutcher do that 4 nights in a row? And I just don't know. I mean, we know he can do it on any given night, but can you do it 4 nights in a row on one weekend? Yeah, I don't know. That's just a scary proposition to lay money on. So, when you're asking me, do I think it's possible? No, I don't. But if I did think it was possible, I'm trying to come up with what that looks like, and even that's tough, because they're not going to magically cure all their turnover woes. They're not going to magically have more talent after Crutcher and Watson appear. They're just a young roster that's kind of trying to find themselves when the rest of the NCAA is ironing out those kinks and getting better. Dayton, I said this to somebody the other night, but VCU looks like a team that's putting it all together, and Dayton looks like a team that's still trying to figure it out.
If Rodney Chapman and Cahill are healthy, how much different is this season looking? Like when we talk about the impact of those guys not being on the floor, I mean, those guys aren't going to all of a sudden help the turnover problem, right? But are they going to help a lot of those scoring droughts we see them go on? Are they going to help them defensively? There's a lot. I mean, I don't think a lot of their issues stem from just those two being out, but how much do those two help if they're back in this lineup regularly?
Yeah, I mean, they do, and it's obvious, I think, in this past week, because we had mentioned on Twitter a lot, like, what the expectations were going into this season. And then I thought to myself, why did I have the expectations of going to the tournament going into this season? And frankly, looking back, it was quite reasonable. I mean, this team was 4-1 coming out of the non-conference with Chase Johnson still in school as we thought. If they hadn't lost Dwayne Cohill to start the year, if Chase Johnson hadn't left school, and then they had put together Weaver and Amsel into this lineup with those guys all healthy, I mean, that could probably make a pretty darn good college basketball team, let's be honest. But, with what the road ahead looks like, it looks like we're only going to get a Chapman back. Then your question is, like, how much would him and Cahill help? And I think the question really is, if we did have the full roster that Anthony Grant envisioned, where would this team be? And I tend to think that they'd probably be about 3 games better than they are right now, which would put them right in the at-large discussion. So I think the margin of error is really small this year, but unfortunately, if we had a lot of luck last year, we're kind of paying for it this year with injuries, guys leaving school, and just how the roster's shaking out, right?
Yeah, I mean, and look, the LaSalle Fordham games would definitely be the reversal of those. I don't think that they lose those two games. But what's that third one? What's another game that you keep looking at that's saying, we can't get over that Fordham LaSalle loss, but damn it, like this game should have been ours as well. What is that game that is still just ticking you off to this day?
I mean, even the Duquesne game, and the SMU game was on a buzzer beater, and that's why I said, like, is Dwayne Cohill and Chase Johnson worse, like a couple of buckets either way in those matchups? Absolutely they are, and certainly a healthy Rodney Chapman is down the stretch here against Duquesne. So, I don't know, man. Like I said, the margin of error has just been a little bit smaller this year, and I think that a lot of people in the fan base, myself included, weren't kind of ready for, like, how eye-opening this season was going to be because, I would come on the show every week, and we knew the at-large chances were toast a month ago. After they lost to Fordham, that was pretty much it for Dayton's at-large chances. I mean, optimism always springs anew with each sunrise in this fan base. But at the end of the day, everybody knew what we were playing for, and it was a couple of days in the A-10 tournament. So, I am frustrated with how this season's played out. I don't think there's like a huge reason for concern over the program just yet, but unfortunately we kind of find ourselves back in the same position we did to start the season last year, is that next year kind of turns into like, hey, let's get back to the tournament or else. And I think my one concern, if anything, is that this team's still going to be young next year and they're losing their 2 best players, guys that account for like half of the scoring each night. So, I don't know, am I worried about next year yet? No, but there's definitely reasons to be concerned about like what Dayton brings back next year with what we've seen so far.
All right, and one of my hot take topics for today, I'll bring you in on this too. I started looking, Anthony Grant in year 4, and then looking at the first 4 years of Archie Miller. If the Flyers don't have the season that they did last year, this would be a very easy conversation to have. But the first 4 years of Archie versus the first 4 years of Anthony Grant, who do you give the rub to of being more impressive during that stretch? Obviously, like I said, last year regular season doesn't happen. This is an easy answer. I wouldn't even be asking it, but it is interesting. You have that Elite Eight run in those NCAA tournaments, so back to back in the first 4 years for Archie Miller, and then that regular season magical run last year. Which one was more impressive in your opinion, the first 4 years?
Well, which is more impressive? Probably what Archie Miller did, just because he was an unknown. Now, if your question is like which 4 years would I take, that answer I think is just a little bit more complex because of our situation. And what I mean by that is I'm going to take Anthony Grant's first 4 years if we're going to put both of these in a bubble, because what I've always felt is the most important thing about the Dayton program, and I still do think this is the most important thing, is building the brand and building like who UD basketball is. And unfortunately, as much as people loved Archie Miller, and as much as he, brought a lot of wins to the Dayton area, everybody knew in the back of their mind that one day he was going to go on to greener pastures. Yeah, everybody knew it. That's why at the end of every season from 2015 on, we kind of had to watch the news in the off season to say, is Archie leaving us? Where's he going to go? What are the jobs that are open? I mean, we don't really have that with Anthony Grant. Number one, because his resume is not really strong enough to go to the Power 5 level as far as a college coach goes. He already did that, and it didn't quite work out at Alabama. But number two, it's like Anthony doesn't really want to go get another job. This is his team. This is his school. These are his people. He wants to lead this basketball program. He wants to be the face. So, yes, I think it was a lot more impressive for a 33-year-old Archie Miller. I think he was 33 he took the job. I think it was more impressive what he did because there was a lot of uncertainty in the program at that time. And his third year, he definitely could have gone down the left side of the road instead of going down the right. I mean, that year was very dicey there for a while. So, yeah, it was definitely more impressive what Archie Miller did in his first 4 years. But if you're asking me to choose, I do like the position the program's in now, putting together the best recruiting classes we ever have. But, it's going to come time again soon here, probably next season where it's time to win. And I still do have faith that the program's going to get that done.
All right, we got Sully from Talking Out Loud with us here. Last thing, and we'll let you go. Look, this year, there's no blue blood. I mean, if there was ever a year to really strike in the NCAA tournament, this would be it without a lot of your traditional powers there. No Duke, North Carolina. Well, this is just the top 25 conversation, I guess, but no Duke, no North Carolina, no Kentucky, no Kansas, no UCLA, and others. But just why are all of these teams at the same time? It's rare for any of those teams, for any one of those teams to not be in the top 25, but to have every one of them not in the conversation right now, that's pretty damn remarkable.
Yeah, it is. I can't really put my finger on, why that is. And, for listeners out there, I think this is always like the time of the year when the passive fan gets back into college basketball, right? The guys that maybe not have paid that much attention, like football's over, there's no baseball yet, especially in Ohio, there's not a whole lot of interest in hockey, so, the spotlight kind of goes back on basketball, at least for the next, 6 weeks here. And, I don't know why the college landscape is the way it is this year as far as the power programs underperforming. But I have found it to be an extremely competitive year in college basketball. I think that is wholly attributable to the no home court advantage. That's a fairly obvious conclusion to draw. But the other thing that's happening is that Baylor and Gonzaga have separated themselves from the rest of the pack to a historic degree. There's only been, Ken Pomeroy has only had his data table for I think 22 years now, and there's only been 3 other seasons where the top 2 teams have separated themselves in such a manner that Baylor and Gonzaga have this year. So, it's funny, I think we always try to, nail down what the storylines are in college basketball by this time of year, kind of for that average fan, right? And the storylines have kind of become clear. It's like, who is going to get to the Final Four with Gonzaga and Baylor? And the storyline is kind of like, are we going to get to finally see the Gonzaga-Baylor game? Because it actually was supposed to be on the calendar in December or November, and it was canceled the day of the game. So it's a really interesting storyline to keep it, keep tabs on, because the other thing now is that bettors are saying Gonzaga plus Baylor versus the field is 50-50. And I really can't remember in my life when it's been so clear cut that hey, it should be one of these teams or one of these teams. But I will say this, Karen. If it is not Gonzaga or Baylor who wins the national title this year, I'm going to go ahead and bet my money that it's going to be a Big Ten team finally after 20 years. I think they're going to break through again.
You mean the Ohio State, right?
No, I mean the Big Ten. A team in the Big Ten. I will not come on this radio station and stand for Ohio State. No, I won't do that.
They might be a 1 seed. They're on the 1 seed right now.
They're on their way. They're playing good ballers. There's not about it. Yeah.
All right. Hey, Sully, good stuff, man. I appreciate you hanging out for a bit. We'll talk soon.
No doubt, man. Always fun. Talk to you later.
All right, good stuff. That's Sully from Talking Out Loud. We'll step away for a few minutes on the other side. And again, no Flyers game on Saturday. That game postponed, but really it's not coming back. Kev Nash, though, is coming back. He's going to hang out with us on the other side as we close out the show. Urban Meyer, stop me if you've heard this one before. Urban Meyer has an assistant coach on his staff that has a lot of people questioning Urban Meyer. No, we're not talking Ohio State. We're talking the Jacksonville Jaguars. Urban Meyer, he's under the microscope. He has a questionable hire. Who did he just put on his staff that has everyone already angry? We'll discuss on the other side of the break.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
There's nothing better than a fresh-made home-style meal, but not everyone loves the hassle of cooking. At Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, home-style happens here with our famous 12-piece family meal at a great price. This famous family meal includes 12 mixed pieces of Lee's fresh, never-frozen chicken that is honey-dipped, hand-breaded, and cooked to perfection, plus 3 large sides and 6 fluffy biscuits. Get a home-style meal made easy today with Lee's 12-piece family meal at a great price. Only at Lee's, famous for chicken.
Hey, Matthew, we need to restock those sleeping bags.
Indeed knows unexpected growth can stretch your business thin.
One of you cover this register?
Like at Anita's Outdoor Store.
Sorry,
to keep sales climbing, she needs to get started hiring right away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. And the moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Procter & Gamble, the company behind some of your favorite brands like Tide and Charmin and Pampers, is now hiring entry-level technicians at the Dayton Distribution Center. P&G is offering a competitive pay rate of $16.44 per hour for 8 and 12-hour rotating shifts, plus an additional per-hour rotating shift incentive. P&G offers a comprehensive benefit package on day one, including medical, dental, and 401k. For more information, visit pgcareers.com. Search for Dayton and apply today. Procter & Gamble is an equal opportunity employer.
These days, it's okay to do some things halfway, like wearing your pajama bottoms on a work call, but managing your prescriptions shouldn't be one of them. That's why CVS has a proprietary search tool to find ways that may help lower your prescription costs, and will deliver them for free. No wonder CVS customers are better than most at staying on prescriptions, which tends to make you healthier. Come in or call today and get a free prescription savings review at CVS. Savings vary. Not all patients eligible for savings. Delivery restrictions apply. Visit cvs.com for details.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents and Doug.
Okay, class, let's bump it up to 9.
Come on, Limu, keep pedaling. We got to build our endurance to let more people know that Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
Pick up the pace, bird legs.
Hey, don't talk to Limu like that.
I'm not, I'm talking to you.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Get a customized quote at libertymutual.com.
It's not too late. Head to your local candy aisle to pick up that heart-shaped box of Russell Stover chocolates she's expecting and make happy this Valentine's Day with Russell Stover.
Don't miss the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays at 3 p.m. on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
So you want to talk about outliers? Those guys are outliers. You're lucky that this thing's separating us. That's all I got to say. For facts, though. I got your facts right here.
Listen, stream, and now watch. Search the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook to follow along. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
So a Bucs quarterback is going to have surgery. Not the Buckeyes, though. Tom Brady is having a minor surgical procedure on his knee. Little scope. But Bruce Arians described it as a cleanup. I mean, is this a game? Like, is this a football injury or couldn't make it off the pier injury? I mean, if you saw him yesterday, he was having to be held. Maybe he wasn't drunk. Maybe he was just injured. Tom Brady looked like he had a blast, and people that were ripping him, give me a damn. Who was ripping him? Social media, all of that. He's literally going in on him because I've never seen Tom Brady act like that, and I like him even more now. That's actually the coolest I've ever, outside of having the supermodel wife. I mean, him being drunk was like the second coolest thing he's ever done outside of winning 7 damn Super Bowls and the supermodel wife, right? So the third. I mean, good for him having fun. Like, that's the thing. Like, it was fun seeing that. All of them just having fun and letting loose. I'm sure like a lot of teams are doing that even without celebrating a Super Bowl because this season was taxing on a lot of the fans. It was exhausting to fans. I can't imagine how exhausting it was to the players, who actually do all the work. So,
So we celebrate Gronk, but we bash Brady.
I think Gronk gets a little criticized as well. I mean, there's a pocket of people that love him. Don't get me wrong, but
they're human beings, man. They just want a Super Bowl, man.
That's the most relatable Tom Brady has been in a long time.
And trust me, how he was acting, that's light work for half the way other people act when they win a Super Bowl or a championship.
I think he been drunk. I'm like, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that too. That too.
Yep.
Have some fun, man. Lighten up. He wasn't dropping the boat, man. He got wasted. He just won a Super Bowl. His 7th. Surprised it wasn't worse.
Aye.
Salute.
So some other news as we close this out, and we'll keep an eye on how this really unfolds, if anything even comes out of it. But it's not a good start for Urban Meyer. I mean, Urban Meyer, I just don't think that. I mean, does he not understand the temperature of the room? And does he not understand? I believe that he probably vetted whatever that means. But here's the deal. Jaguars head coach, former Buckeye head coach Urban Meyer, said today that he has known new director of sports performance Chris Doyle for 20 years, that he vetted his hire, and he is confident that there will be no issues with Doyle, who left Iowa after numerous allegations of racist remarks and belittling players. Urban Meyer said that he is sure that he will not belittle players. Sorry, I just I mean, that's the only thing you can be sure of because you could be watching him. But this is just in today's day and age right now. Again, you know what I mean? The temperature's hot, coming off of one of the most disturbing years in the history of our world. Forget country, our world, right? And to come, I mean, there's a reason he was available. Yeah. And he knew it. Oh, we vetted it. Don't worry, we vetted it. What does that mean? Because the school tried to vet it, and apparently they found enough wrong with it to let him go. And he's a pretty damn good coach, and they still let him go. I don't think that this was worth it. I just think Urban Meyer, I don't get it. This is his biggest problem. He thinks he could fix everybody. He thinks that he's helping him, and I'm sure he is, right? By giving him an opportunity. But college wasn't going to touch him. And no other NFL team was going to touch him, but Urban Meyer comes in and brings him on the staff. Again, the dude could be a nice guy, but the allegations, those didn't come out of nowhere, and we're plural. Allegations, plural. Not a player he didn't like and that didn't like him, accused him of saying something racially inappropriate, and off they go. No, allegations, as in more than one player. I remember when that came out. It was a lot of different players.
Yeah. White players, black players, saying I'm gonna send you back to the cornfields, talking about a kid that had dyslexia and things of that nature. That's not cool. And you know what, Herb, you talking about we're gonna do our due diligence and he's not gonna do that to NFL players. You're damn right he's not gonna do that to NFL players. Because you don't have the power in the NFL.
I'll be taking him back to the cornfield.
Exactly. Exactly. In college, the coaches hold all the power. They hold your scholarship. They hold your playing time. Well, in the NFL, you talk to a first-round pick that way, they're going to side with the first-round pick because they just spent the first-round pick on them. So, look, let me get this out here. People deserve second chances. I believe in that. But with that being said, with Urban Meyer's track record, him being the guy to give him a second chance, I don't know if that's the smartest move in the world.
Yeah, because to this day, Urban still swears that Zach Smith did nothing wrong. So why don't you put Zach Smith on your staff in Jacksonville? Why not? He did nothing wrong. That's what you are still sticking with to this day.
Zone 6.
He vetted him. He vetted him. I mean, look, bottom line is this would have probably been a bullet point of a headline had any other team hired him. But because it's Urban Meyer, Urban Meyer should just know better. Because of your history at Ohio State. And that's ultimately the snowball effect that led to your departure from Ohio State. Sure, it could be the sickness, but let's be, in all seriousness, though, it was brought on by that. The stress of that, I do believe, played a huge role in the sickness increasing for Urban Meyer, unfortunately. So, look, as good as Ryan Day is, I still would rather have Urban Meyer. I don't care. Ryan Day's good, but, I want Urban Meyer, but it just felt different with Urban Meyer. Ryan Day's doing everything, if not more, than what Urban Meyer was doing. It just felt different with Urban Meyer. I like Urban Meyer. I like him and dislike him at the same time. Okay, does that make sense? I thought the program just felt bigger with him there.
He's in that big name for sure.
But he should have learned from his mistakes at Ohio State about that situation. About when you're leading a team, even you could still like Doyle. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't mean you need to bring him on your staff and risk everything. You're risking. What if he does this again? This is going to look bad. Like, let's say Doyle slips up and says something stupid or does something stupid again and gets let go. You know who's going to look really stupid for that? Urban Meyer, because of the quotes today. We vetted him. He's a great dude. I've known him for 20 years. Cool.
Kurt Ferentz known him for that long, too, and Kurt Ferentz covered up for him.
I just don't get it. I don't get it. I'm not a fan of the decision for that. All right, good stuff. We'll pick up with these, Flyer fans. Be thinking about this conversation for tomorrow. Archie Miller versus Anthony Grant, the first 4 years. Who had a more impressive first 4 years as the Flyers head coach? And Anthony Grant's third year winning National Coach of the Year, having the number 3 team in the country. If the tournament would have happened, it would have been it would have been a 1 seed. That is amazing. But the 3 seasons outside of that, just okay. But Archie Miller won the first 4 years right away, NCAA tournament. The last 2 years of that 4-year stretch, of course. I said Sweet 16 earlier. It was just a second round appearance. But either way, the Elite Eight and the tournament runs that they all went on. To me, it's Archie Miller hands down, no matter what Anthony Grant did last year. But it is what it is.
Even if they went to the Final Four last year?
That would have been a little different, but right now, again, I'm not penalizing them for there being no NCAA tournament last year, but there was no NCAA tournament last year.
That's just the reality of the situation.
You're in year 4, and I've yet to see Anthony Grant on the sideline during the NCAA tournament. I'm just saying. You
were so good today until the last 10 seconds.
No, okay, that could sound aggressive, but the bottom line is what was the first year was, the cupboard was bare. Well, Archie had decent recruits coming in. You couldn't keep them, and then boom. Now you had Jalen Crutcher come in, which was pretty damn good.
Yes, sir.
Adobe Toppin come in, which is pretty damn good. You have even better players coming. Well, I don't know about better, but they're just as good on paper coming in the next couple of years. But you better start winning with them. That's all. We'll be back tomorrow. Justin Kinner Show, Kev Nash, 1410 ESPN Radio.
We are Dayton's home of